cedis and how much is going to the space we are about to talk about today. And it's sad that we are spending just about 0.084% of the national cake on the creative industry.
0.0?
It's not even up to 1%, wow. Right? It's 0.084. That's how much we are spending on the sector that is expected to bring in some $5 billion every year. In fact, if you are ranking the top foreign exchange earners for the country, you can put it at number 2 or number 3, right? So it's quite unfortunate. But the whole, agenda in terms of the manifesto for the NDC, hovered around the Black Star experience, right? That is a main flagship program for the showbiz or the tourism industry. So what I just decided to do is to go back to the 2024 manifesto of the NDC and just decided to count how many promises were made to the creative industry, right? So that's about 35, promises, that was made to the showbiz industry, 35 promises. If you do a quick math in terms of the breakdown, which part, had the most promises, the culture for growth aspect had about 8 promises, right? And I'm going to take you through the top 4 of all the promises. Creative industry, 10 promises were made. And if you go to the tourism industry, there were 14 promises. So the tourism industry is by far the heavyweight in terms of where the NDC really want to spend their money on. If you look at the budgets as well, you could see that that is the aspect that is taking significant part of the budget. And in terms of the top 4 for the culture for economic growth, the top 4, there were about 8 promises. But in terms of the top 4, one is to revive the Creative Arts Fund, which I know we'll talk about. I'm not going to go into the details. I know there are top brains to do that. I'm only going to look at the numbers. And there's also the cultural village that we hope to set up. I don't know if that has been done. And also modernize existing centers for the national culture and also facilitate partnership with international cultural organizations. If you focus on the creative industry, where majority of our creatives are the music aspect and, film, this, if you look at the top 4, promises made in the NDC's 2024 budget, manifesto, is, number 1 is to invest in support local content creation. This is very important. Also, enhance collection and management of copyright and royalties. I know this conversation or this aspect of the promise will come up in today's conversation. Support young digital content creators. And I know some of them are here. They will be looking for this support. Last time I was hearing on Showbiz A to Z conversations around, funds that have been created and how it could be distributed. Very important. Also, partner with stakeholders in the Ghana music and dance industry. It has become an important, part of the creative, industry. If you go to the aspect on just the creative, so tourism, right? Top 4, build real-time online database. And in fact, this part is very important because you struggle a lot to get available data when it comes to the creative industry or the tourism industry. One of the promise of the NDC was to build a real-time online database. As far as the industry we are talking about is concerned, and the partnership is going to be between the government, the GSS, GTA, and other stakeholders. Has that been done? We simply don't know. The top minds will actually answer that question. Revive the abandoned Marine Drive project. And if you know, this project is very, very expensive. Per our estimation, this project could cost some $250 million. Have we done anything about that? I simply do not know. Review taxes and enhance incentives for hospitality and other services. This part is very important. We all know how the VAT system was, rationalized to bring the effective VAT rate from 22% to about 20%. Was that what the government was talking about? Are there taxes on the hospitality business or the aspect that they hope that government could actually scrap? The top minds to answer that question. Review the utilization of the tourism development, levy. This is something that if you look on the receipts you get when you buy something at the mall, you should know that anytime you buy something, there's a part of the bill that's supposed to go into tourism development levy. What have we done with that money? I know that we'll be asking questions about that aspect. This is where I think it's very interesting. The creative industry, and this is where I was talking about that we are spending just about 0.08% of our national cake on this aspect of the economy. Why? Because if you look at the national budget for 2026, how much are we hoping to spend on the tourism creative art? 255 million Ghana cedis. In fact, If you compare it to the top 10 aspect that we are in education, close about 40 billion Ghana cedis. Just look at creative art, 255 million. If you're comparing 255 million to 39 billion for education, health, interior, defense, you should know that if you are in the pecking order of things, this is really below in terms of our priorities. But thankfully, if you do the math, what you realize is that the allocation increased significantly from 205 million Ghana cedis in 2025 to about 255 million in 2026. This has been the trajectory so far. What are we hoping in terms of what do we know how the NDC want to spend on the creative industry? Is it likely that we'll hit some 500 million Ghana cedis or $500 million? If you look at the budget, it's very unlikely that this will happen. Why? Because if you do the estimation, 2027, which is next year, the highest the government want to spend on the creative industry or indicative is around 294 million, not even up to 300 million Ghana cedis. In 2028, which is an election year, it is interesting that the estimation is showing that it's going to have a dip to 289. And election years, usually you have the creative budgets reduced. I don't know why, because you look at compare 2023 to 2024, reduced from 181 to 175. I simply do not know. We'll answer all those questions. And in fact, this was the aspect of the commitment for 2026. 2026, what is government committing to do for the creative and tourism industry? Rehabilitate the National Theatre in Accra. Has that been done? Answers will be given. Commence site acquisition and design of second National Theatre in Kumasi and establish the Creative Arts Fund for the arts. We know, I think about 20 million Ghana cedis for the Creative Fund and 20 million Ghana cedis also for the Film Fund. That is for 2026. But importantly, this is how the life cycle of the creative industry in terms of the fund is going to look like. So if you're expecting that fund that the president promised, this is the life cycle as we have tracked for you. 2026, the hope is that we'll spend 20 million Ghana cedis for the Film Fund and 20 million Ghana cedis also for the Creative Fund. 2027, is it likely to go up? The projection shows that yes, government is hoping to spend some 23.4 million Ghana cedis for both funds, and in 2028 increases by some 3 million Ghana cedis, so about 26.4 for both the Creative Fund and the Film Fund. So this is how the life cycle of the Creative Fund and the Film Fund is looking at. But in the scale of things, if you look at our national budgets, it simply doesn't really look good for the creative industry, because this is how much we're spending, 255 million Ghana cedis for this year. And if you do the math, that's about just about 0.08% of the national cake, Kwame.
Kofi?
Yeah.
That's a very brilliant presentation, but did you also find things they've done so far? I mean, the government, in some of the projects.
In fact, if you look at the entire promise for the creative industry, our checks and analysis shows that you need minimum 1.2 billion cedis to about 2.5 billion cedis to be able to do in a period of 3 years. Minimum, you need close to about 500 million Ghana cedis every year, bears minimum for the creative industry. So for us to be budgeting 255 million, it simply tells you that even though they're doing something, it's simply not enough to be where we want to be for 2026.
Thank you, Isaac Kofi Adye. And Isaac Kofi Adye is a team lead in our department, research department, and he just finished with his presentation of their findings regarding the promises and all the things that the government put together for the creative art industry, tourism and culture as well. And this is laying the foundation for our discussion today. We have 4 gallant men here, one more coming, joining in a moment, and we have the studio guest as well. I think it is right for me to also introduce to you some of the people who have joined us now in the audience. Let me turn. I see Robert Clark. He's a creative entrepreneur. Let's put our hands together for him. Robert Clark is here with us. Hello, I see a familiar face. Hello. That is Adjoa Noela, right? Hello. Put your hands together for Adjoa Noela. And is he coming from the UK or is coming from Akumadan? Austin, the controversial Wood, is here as well. Let's put hands together for him. Hello, good afternoon. Hello. Okay, please mention your name and where you're coming from. Hello, sweetheart.
Hi.
Yes, please.
My name is Davina.
Davina?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm here with my boss.
All right, Davina is here as well. Oh, and Mr. Emmanuel Frimpong is here. He is also one of the tourism gurus we have in this country. I can see the comedians at the back. I can see Kojo PJ. I can see James Brown. Anytime I'm introducing him, I say Tom Brown instead of James Brown. I can see James Brown, I can see Leslie the Comic, and other creatives right here. As time goes on, I'll be introducing all the other people that come later right here on the show, the Showbiz Roundtable 9th edition. And today we are getting down to the discussion of the various promises made by the NDC government since they assumed office on 7th January 2025 so far. What have they done? And I have the people to do that right here. And so these are the rules of today's game. We're going to do a general assessment of the performance of the government in these areas. So each of the panel members is going to do that in 10 minutes. 10 minutes. After that, if there are questions to ask, I'll follow up with those questions. But while they are doing their presentations, there will be no interjection, except if they are maybe putting out some factually inaccurate figures or facts, okay? Factually inaccurate content. That is the only time I'll come in to say something. But without that, they're going to talk for 10 minutes presentation. And during that period, none of the other panel members is allowed to interject or add anything, all right? Then we go for a break. When we come back, we get to also spot other things that were not captured in their presentations. We raise those and we have a general discussion right here. Third part of the discussion will be the open forum, where we invite you watching or listening to us from home, and then those right here in the studio as well. So this is Showbiz Roundtable, and you can send us your comments now, 055111197 and 0551575757. Do that now. Let's hear your take on what is happening in the creative arts, tourism, culture space with regards to the performance of this government. And I think with that, I'm zooming straight. Let's take a breather. Let's go for a break. When we come back, we set the ball rolling.
Eko bechon ake ofe no posrotu be kume ejionshie washinlehe. Heba moje no koni jiji odani ejionshie nibi ni wofio be mi ni mokokwe.
Subang Pakpaji Shishi, Yamino, Yabohuno, Yawa Akucho.
Good conduct, great life is brought to you by
Indomie.
Tastes great.
More Kivo inside. Kivo Gary Soaking Mix. A taste of Ghana.
Like you've never seen before.
This is Wodemaya Travels. The mission is to share positive African stories, celebrate culture, tourism, identity, and history.
I mean, this is the tiniest market that I've ever seen across my travels in the world. I mean, you can be in the market and feel the breeze that is happening, which makes it what? Great.
Join Wodemaya, Africa's biggest YouTube vlogger, as he uncovers untold stories, hidden gems, and the heartbeats of the continent. This is Wodemaya Travels. Wodemaya Travels.
This and every Saturday at 6:30 p.m. only on Joy Prime.
This is not just rap. This is not just lyrics. This is War on the Mic. Welcome to Beats and Bars, the ultimate rap battle competition in Ghana, where raw talents meet hungry ambition, where bars hit harder and only the strongest survive.
Fanboy no they pay. Sudi agoro be best sort of get a bonnet to set your skilly.
Okay, on a man, I'm another one. But reject another one fan now.
Two communities, two fearless MCs, 3 intense rounds, 1 undisputed champion. No backing down, no mercy, just skill, flow, delivery, and bars.
You better get in it.
I say, shake your bala bala, shake your bala bala, shake your bala bala.
Who owns the mic? Who controls the stage? Who takes the crown? Beats and Bars.
Emmanuel Kwame.
All right, my name is Emmanuel Kwame Dadzie. You can call me Kwame Dadzie. And you're listening to Showbiz Roundtable 9th edition, coming to you from our studios here at Joy Prime Television. And we're live on Joy News and Joy 99.7 FM. Now, getting straight to action. And we're starting with a general assessment of the performance of the Mahama administration since it's got into office in January 2025. To start for us is Emmanuel Kwame Sapon, Olele Salvador. Put your hands together for him.
Thank you. All right, I just have 10 minutes, so I'll do this very quickly. So I actually themed my presentation 20 months in the receipt of March. It's very interesting to see or hear my senior colleague in the research department talk about, how much is being spent on the industry or in the industry, and how much we are looking to generate and how much we are contributing to the country's GDP. But unfortunately, we are not seeing much of that. Kwame, interestingly, when I was doing the mathematics, right? The calculations, we're not yet at 20 because, officially, this government took over in January. So that makes it 19 months. But
Olele, you know what we say in Ghana?
Yes.
Like you come 10, 10, 10, 12. 11, 12.
So definitely look at that. But okay. I want us to follow the money. So in December, Parliament passes the 2026 appropriation bill, and they named 2 cost centers. You're looking at 40.5 million Ghana cedis. 27th February this year, the president comes on the State of Nation address to repeat that commitment and says he's going to give us 40 million indeed. 20th May, we are told that Film Development Fund publicly launched as a seed capital, which was the 20 million, like my colleague said. And early July, the president says that the film money had been paid. And this was a conversation with the outgone Swiss ambassador, right? In the conversation, he says, and I quote, "It has been paid." Okay, we'll get to that. Now, 23rd July, which is the mid-year fiscal policy review, we don't hear anything about the payment, about the said payment. I did write a Facebook post, asking, why it wasn't captured as a line item in the mid-year budget review, because if something of that nature has been passed by Parliament and the president himself has said it's been paid 2 weeks before the mid-year budget review, you would at least want to hear where the money is or where the money has gone to and how much has been spent and all the KPIs that come with it, but we didn't hear anything about that. In late July, we actually hear about the actual release confirmed by the National Film Fund, and they say that they have received 5 million Ghana cedis. Joy News, obviously, my Joy Online reported this. Every other news agency in Ghana reported the same figure. On 29th July, you have the NFA opening applications, and they were advertising it at 20 million Ghana cedis. Are you seeing the discrepancy in the numbers right now? Okay. They said they're giving 5 million, but they are opening their advertisement as 20 million. So what money are they going to be using? Anyways, we'll get to that. So they announced 20 million Ghana cedis. They launched it in May as a seed capital, but what was actually released was 5 million, which is just 1/4. The NFA, of course, has confirmed that, and I quote the executive secretary of the film agency. He says, the fund is not free money. We have started discussions on various ways to recoup the loans. If the TV is yours, underline recoup the loans. The fund is not free money, okay? All right. I'm sure my uncles would get into it when I sit down. Now, why am I worried about this part of the conversation? Because I have a problem with how we place so much premium on the Black Stars. Not to say the Black Stars is not important, right? But even the Black Stars had their World Cup figures and their World Cup numbers captured in the media budget review. The World Cup campaign, according to the finance minister, was 58 million Ghana cedis. Now, Anti-Illegal Mining Secretariat, the money that was given to them to combat Galamsey, was also captured in the media budget review, and that was 60 million Ghana cedis. They also came with completion percentages on how individual road projects, were doing or itemized. But the Department of Creative Arts, which also handles or which also comes together with the National Film Authority, wasn't mentioned. Now, for both art allocations are comparable in size to line items that were reported and drawn from the same appropriation process. So the question is still remaining, why are they not capturing these things? Then we go to tourism, right? The last tourism report suggested that we had people coming into the country, but we were spending less, or they were spending less. International arrivals, went up by 1.4%. That is from 1.2 to 1.3 million. International tourism receipts dropped 10% from $4.82 billion to $4.34 billion. So we had people coming in, but they were not spending. Why? In 2024, the average spend per visitor was $3,742. In 2025, it dropped from $3,742 to $3,319. What worked was the marketing, because Ghana, we know how to market ourselves. Our marketing is on auto mode. Ghana has the best PR in the world. Yay, everybody's happy. But we are not selling any product. They come and there's nothing to sell. You're not making money. So I said, we are selling access to a country, but we are not selling anything to do once you arrive. And I've talked about how sometimes even the roads to our tourism centers are very bad. The agents or the administrators of our tourism sites are reportedly not being taken care of. And that translates into their customer service. We'll get into that. Now, in the 24-hour economy sheet, as part of the promises that were made for the Creative Arts Center or the Creative Arts Industry or the Ministry of Creative Arts Tourism, it is said that we host the after secretariat here, but we cannot host the after events. Why? Because, and I quote, there is no purpose-built national convention and exhibition center capable of hosting large-scale cultural, trade, or policy summits. This is captured in the 24-hour economy program.
Olele, I think we need to understand what AFTA is.
Oh,
is the African Continental Free Trade Area.
I mean, if at this point you don't know what it is, then AFCT.
Yes, it's not AFTA, it's
AFCFT. Sorry. So I decided to look at neighboring countries or other countries and what they are known for and what they are doing. And I couldn't really take my eyes off Rwanda, because in Rwanda, in only 2025, the year 20, just last year, their meetings and the conferences segment alone produced $94.7 million. And this is because they were able to hold international events across 165 international and regional events. One of them, obviously, is the UCI World Championships, Mobile World Congress, and what many of you may know as BAL, which is also known as the Basketball African League. Every year, Rwanda is choked. Why? Because they have the purpose centers. In Ghana, we don't have any. I think, was it early this year or last year, we were told that our favorite $58 million pool was going to be turned into, anyways. Yes, so we don't have any at the moment. And we are still in 2026. We don't know what plans are laid out for that. After that announcement, we were told the National Theatre was going to be built in Kumasi. We don't know if the land has been procured. We don't know all of that. We don't know what the plan is looking like. A lot more we'll get into when we start the conversation. Now, another thing that made me sad during the World Cup is that this season's World Cup was hosted in the United States of America. It is arguably reported to be the biggest World Cup ever staged. And the documents show that the diaspora from the US are arguably our number one source market because they come into the country a lot more than any other, diaspora source. According to the data provided in the tourism report, US visitors to Ghana in the year 2025 was 155,289. Nigeria comes second with 136,000 and UK 56,000. Where was our flagship program, the Black Star Experience? Non-existent. They often talk about, the lack of funding. They don't have enough money or they don't have money at all to activate their own manifesto promises. So I'm wondering if at this point in time, the Black Star Experience is a private-owned initiative or it is really government-owned. Because guess what? It was launched in May 1, 2025, and it doesn't have any money in their account, according to their coordinator. So I can't leave here without giving some credit. So I put together some credits. High Life has been inscribed on UNESCO's Intangible Cultural Heritage List. And this was December 10, 2025. That means this was more or less 3 or so days after this government was announced, winner of the just ended elections.
No, wait. 2025.
Sorry, 2025. So
a year after.
Yes. So I almost give it. UNESCO, Kente has also been inscribed in UNESCO's list, but this was obviously before. But obviously we charge it to the game, we charge it forward. This is a very interesting find when I put together my research. There is actually a Kente geographical indication protection with WPO, and that was on 30th September 2025. And of course, free e-visa for African nationals, 25th May 2026. The GTDC operating license renewed after roughly 8 years expired from 2025 to 2026. Okay, we talked about GAMRO, my colleague talked about GAMRO as part of the promises. GAMRO's distribution from 27 July 2026, as of 27 July 2026, they had paid out 1.43 million Ghana cedis, which is equivalent to 122,000. But South Africa, am I allowed to mention South Africa?
Go back.
I can do that, right? SAMRO paid $38.6 million. That's why you're wondering if Amapiano is doing so well. You should understand that it started from home and it's extended its tentacles to the rest of the continent. But we can also argue because 1.8 times South Africa is bigger than our population, but they are paying 200 times the royalties. What is the problem? Fancy Gadam, not too long ago, announced that he was paid 123 Ghana cedis for the whole year of doing music. And GAMRO had to come and explain. I think it was even on Showbiz, was it Showbiz A to Z? I think it was Showbiz A to Z. GAMRO had to come and explain what was going on and, Showbiz A to Z. That's Showbiz 360. A to Z.
There is only one Showbiz. It's only A to Z and none other.
I apologize. Giving you a 360 experience. Fancy Gadam is arguably one of, Ghana's biggest artists, especially from the north. And his revenue from GAMRO was just 123 Ghana cedis. This is like what, $10, $15 for the whole period. That's not looking good for us, right? The same document shows that we are expecting a GDP growth against, no, in fact, in the, what do you call it, in the media review budget, the finance minister is said to have, revealed the growth targets, or shall I say the expectations with the target we set, or the set for the country. The target was 4.8%. Our current GDP growth is at 6.0%. Inflation is gone below target band, near a 3-decade low of 5.3%. Debt to GDP is down from 6.18% to 45%. The gross international reserves target was 3 months. We are looking at 5 months now. They've all done well in beating their own targets and still left out our sector out of the speech. So that simply tells me that we can afford it. Like my brother said, we need about 500 million Ghana cedis. It tells me that they can afford it, but they are choosing not to do it.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Olele Salvador. Put your hands together for him. That is a brilliant presentation there. Olele Salvador is a pop culture journalist, just giving us his presentation of how far this government has performed in the areas of culture, tourism, and creative arts. Let's move on to the next presenter. Is my own uncle, Uncle Francis Doku. Put your hands together for him.
Thank you so much, Kwame. And I think we need to commend the team that put this together, because we always need to assess how we're doing to know if we can do better than we've done. And I would say that Olele has touched on some of the things that I have noted down to talk about, especially in the area of tourism.
Okay.
First of all, the report, the GTA report, which is primarily the reflection of how tourism happened in the last year, says, for instance, that 31% of a contribution of numbers to Ghana in terms of arrivals was by MICE, or business tourism. And that is a bit difficult to take, really, given what Olele has said and given what we know, in the sense that we don't have one functional world-class convention center at the moment as things are. We all know what we had to go through this year before the TGMA.
Yes.
For venue.
Yeah.
Because the venue that we have and know, there were issues with it. Eventually became available, but we currently do not have one venue where we can do, big conferences and events. And so it becomes a bit difficult to, to kind of appreciate, or if you like, believe that 31% or a third of every tourist who came to Ghana in 2025 came because of business conference. I think that is something, because if you compare to other countries, and Olele mentioned Rwanda, for instance, has done very well. Rwanda is the 5th country in Africa with the numbers of business tourism, and Kigali is second after Cape Town. So their numbers is not up to 12%. I mean, it's below 12, it's below 10% of the number of people who come to Rwanda because of business. And if you're comparing that to what we have in South Africa, which is the biggest conference destination in Africa, it's below 5%. Kenya, same. So it's always difficult to kind of accept a number that says that 31% of the people who came here came because of business. So that's the first point. I want to talk about the numbers. Now, if you also look at the numbers that was presented in the area of revenue, the tourism revenue that was said to have been realized, which was 4.38 billion in 2025, which, as Olele said, is a drop of about 10% from the previous year. It's a bit, in my view, a bit worrisome to accept that as the number that reflects what we achieved as a destination for people who came here. And that is because, again, you have to benchmark what you get from what others on the continent also get. So if Ghana says there were 1.3 billion people who came here, and out of that we made 4.38 billion, that will be saying that we are doing far more than other destinations. So, for instance, if you take Rwanda, which will report that they got 1.4 billion, but their tourism revenue was less than $1 billion. It's about 900 and something million, dollars. If you take Kenya, which reported 3 million arrivals, but their tourism revenue is about 3.8 billion. Then we are kind of shooting, too high in my view. And same with South Africa. South Africa says that their tourism revenue was about close to 5 billion, but the arrival was 10 million, travelers who arrived.
Which means we are doing better. We are doing well.
We are doing better on paper. I am saying this to the point where I think that part of what should have happened within the year, or we need to work on going forward, is to improve how we collect the data. There's something called tourism satellite account, which is what separates your tourism revenue or things that you got from tourism from any other thing that would come into the market. Looks like your own people outside who transmit money into the country, other things that you get, from revenues and all that. If you set up your account properly, you're able to properly know. I think that because we haven't properly set up our tourism satellite account, we are picking figures that do not properly represent. How is this calculated? For instance, GTA would say that there were 1.3 million people who arrived, and each of them spent an average of 3,320, Ghana cedis. Multiply it and then get it. But that's not how you get your.
That is wrong.
That's
wrong. Defective.
It's very defective. And I'm sure if Mr. Frimpong has an opportunity, he will harp on that. So how we calculate the revenue is a bit difficult, because Kwame, if we got 3.48 billion coming into this economy in 2025, a lot of the problems that we have financially would be solved. So I think what has to be worked on as an important or urgent thing to do is how we collect the data. Because even the spend that we say 3,000...
Francis, before you go to the spend, what do you think is the right way to calculate how much we earn from the people that come into
Set up your tourism satellite account. So every money that is spent on tourism will directly hit that account.
Don't we have that?
No, we don't.
Okay.
We don't. I know, for example, that some of the destinations, for instance, Seychelles recently set up its account. Zambia is in the process of setting up their account because they are working with the World Bank and the UN Tourism, and you need to push and apply for that to be set up.
Because I keep hearing them mention tourism satellite accounts from the GTA. They've been mentioning that.
Yeah, but when we spoke with Mr. Nsia, he mentioned that it's not properly set up.
Not properly set up?
Not set up.
Okay, properly.
So there's a need to do that. It's very, very important, because then we'll be presenting figures that are not realistic or that do not really tell the right story. And I was going to the spend, which we have reported in a report that it's $3,320. That an average of tourists who come to Ghana spend $3,220. Kwame, that also is a bit high in my view, because then we are saying that our destination people spend about 7 times what someone in Rwanda would spend, or 7 times what someone in South Africa would spend, or about 3 times what someone in Kenya would spend. I think that it is important that if we are able to properly set up, because most of this thing is done by interviewing people, they do survey on asking how much you spent. But if we had the account properly set up, we will know once it hits the account, then we'll know the average spend. So one point I want to make out of this is that if we're going to be properly reporting on the things that are happening in the tourism space, we need to have the right data to do. And I think that over the years we haven't had, and it's not just limited to this 20 months, 1 year, but over the years, reporting on tourism has been very, very, in my view, a bit wrong. So we need to improve on that. That said, I think we also, and Olele mentioned the Black Star, experience, and it's, in my view, the biggest elephant in the room, because
the biggest what? Umbrella.
Thank you, Jesse.
Elephant in the
elephant. So, Kwame, I think that we all know that it is not, and already mentioned about how the Secretariat has said things about funding, to be able to do the things that they have to do. So, I know that the Secretariat, the Black Experience Secretariat, did certain things last year. some of the events before December, around December, putting their logo on events, helping to, soften the events, working with other agencies like the GTA, the Diaspora Affairs Office and others in different events. But I think it is more than that. The manifesto spoke about the Blacks experience being the overriding, flagship initiative, if you like, to drive tourism. And there were going to be monthly activities from beginning of the year to the end of the year. My view is that the setting up of the Black Star experience hasn't been the best way to go around it, because there's a secretariat that sits in the office of the president, and there are other agencies that sit elsewhere. There's a ministry that also, sits somewhere. I feel there must be some integration, a bit more into the things that the ministry does, the things that the other agencies like the GTA, the Center for National Culture, or National Commission on Culture, and all the others. There are 13 agencies under the ministry.
14.
14?
Yes.
Black Star Experience is not
an agency.
It's not an agency of the ministry.
No.
Yes. But there are 14.
Yes.
Okay, yes, so there are 14. But I think there's not proper integration of what we call the Blacks experience into all the things that they do. It looks like everybody is doing, different things on their own. I feel that there must be that integration. There must be sitting somewhere, if you like, a task force that brings everything together. Because if this is really what is going to drive the tourism agenda of the government, then I think there must be a way to properly integrate things better than we have done. And that, if you do that, then it means that's going to be set up a dashboard that will see, taking all the things that have to be done or being done according to how we have set it up. And I think the Blacks experience also need to be beyond just what happens here in the capital. I know that the Secretariat has been trying to do different things. For instance, the last time we spoke to Rex, they're working on a convention center or conference center in Kumasi. I don't know what the state of that is, but I feel that we need to do more than that. And the Blacks experience, because if this government ends without us seeing what the Blacks experience has done, then we would have said that it didn't quite meet the manifesto that it said it would meet. In a sense that was going to be the overriding, initiative that will drive everything that is tourism, in this economy. So, how many minutes more do I have, Kwame?
You've exhausted your time.
Oh, I have, eh?
Yes.
So let me round it up and say that there are a few things also that happen that I think we need to... there are a few things that Olele went 15 minutes. There are a few things that happen that I think we need to commend the government for, or commend those who are responsible for tourism for.
Yeah.
One is that we mentioned that the number of arrivals increased. Even if it's by 1.4%, it is an increase because there are some destinations that declined. The only country that had the biggest number of arrivals in 2025 in Africa is Egypt, about 10%. Africa's growth was about 8%, and Ghana was 1.4%. There are others that declined. So we need to comment that because we have come out of COVID and we're trying to build now, I think we're at a state where the numbers will be declining. But we still have an opportunity to increase the numbers, so we need to commend the GTA for that. In fact, domestic tourism also increased by about 7%, which is very encouraging. And I think we need to commend those who did that. But there's more that needs to be done to ensure that people travel within our country to different destinations. They won't go only when there's a funeral, but they will go when they have to travel and experience the things around the country with their families. I think we also need to work around the convention part of it. We cannot say that 31 people came into this country when we don't have convention centers. And I think what has to be done, in my view, is that we have to set up what they call the convention bureaus. Almost all the countries that have focused on MICE on the continent have convention bureaus, which is the agency that is responsible for going around the world to pitch for conventions and business meetings to come into the destination. We have nothing of such. We are relying on GTA to market the destination. But I think that if for a country that pitches, and it was mentioned in the manifesto that MICE will be taken a bit more seriously than before, I think we need to set up the convention bureaus, which would help us be able to set up the convention centers, which will help us be able to go and pitch for the conventions that will come into our destination. Next year, Ethiopia is holding the COP 30-something, I don't know, 34, 30-something, and 60,000 people will descend on Addis Ababa to attend this conference from all over the world. I don't think that we can take that number if we were hosting something like that today. Next year, the ICA convention, global convention, will take place in Rwanda, Kigali, and over 50,000 people would descend on Kigali. Kigali, if you divide Ghana about 10, one is Kigali. But they are hosting this number because they have been able to set up properly to be able to do that. So let me end here and say that we need to look at, doing some of these things to make sure that our destination becomes a bit more attractive.
Thank you, Francis Doku. And Francis Doku is COO of Maestro Africa Group. He is a tourism expert or guru, and you just heard him. I think you did more on tourism, yes? Yeah, that's your area. And if you're wondering what these men here in suits and other attires are doing here, we are doing a review of the government's impact on the creative industry, tourism and culture since the NDC got into office. From January 7 till now, we've heard from Olele Salvador and Uncle Francis Doku. Now to another uncle, the godfather, the grandfather, the veteran, Uncle Ken. I tell you, Uncle Ken, the mic is yours.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. And good to see all these industry people here with us this afternoon. Some I haven't seen in yonks.
Oh.
Yeah. And nice listening to Olele and the Don.
Yeah.
And their submissions. When this topic came up, I was discussing it with an industry friend. And he said to me that you guys are not being fair to the government by stating 20 months of their rule is what you're going to look into. So I said, why? Why do you think we're not being fair? He said that most of the agencies within our ministry did not have any budgets till later in the year to do anything reasonable. So if we bloat it up to 20, we are not being fair. We need to be able to take the industries, the agencies by themselves and see when budgetary allocations were made to them, when, for instance, their boards were set up, because without boards, most of these agencies could not do anything meaningful. So it shook me, and I said, yeah, I think you're right. Because then I checked, and I realized that for some of the agencies, for instance, the NFA, GTA, Creative Arts
Agency.
I think the boards were inaugurated on the 14th of August last year.
2025.
So if you take 14th of August to January, slice out the rest of the months, because according to him, they could have done nothing meaningful, because they could not have gotten approval to do anything. So I said, I see. That's a good point. I had also heard a lot of people on radio networks discussing this subject matter. And a lot of them were actually giving the government 0 marks and said nothing meaningful had been achieved within this period. So after the discussion with my friend, I realized that what he said had some meat in it, and that we needed to be very careful and very objective when we were discussing the achievements, or what I would call green shoots of promises, because there was no way we were going to get full implementation of some of the promises.
Yeah.
We were only going to see green shoots, and that sort of thing. And so that set me working. And your producer kindly sent me some info which was useful because let's put things into perspective. We're looking at promises the NDC made in their manifesto, in their 2024 manifesto. And I got some highlights of the promises made by the president, announced by the president himself at the AH Hotel.
Yes.
On the 7th of June, 2024. So again, these were promises made even before boards had been set up and all that. Very quickly, it said make budgetary allocations for the creative arts. We can take that, can't we? Because he has made a 20 million budgetary allocation for the creative arts.
Yes.
Whether the money has been, given to them or not is another matter that we are not too clear about.
5 million has been given to the film authority.
The film fund.
Film fund, yes.
Yes. What about the creative arts?
I hear that is 6 million.
Okay. Streamline copyright administration and intellectual property laws. Has that been done? Organize film festivals to showcase Ghanaian films. I think individuals have been showcasing there.
Yes.
But I do not know of any organization that has gone out of its way to organize that within the government setup. What I do realize is that there's a film festival next week. Is it Austin? Is it next week? The Black Star? Yeah. Is it next week happening in Kumasi? Yeah. I don't know whether that is with the GTA or with the NFA.
That is Juliet's private
initiative. That's somebody's private initiative. But that's a festival, a film festival that's happening in Kumasi from next week. Okay.
But that's not part of the manifesto.
Well, I mean, they said organize film festivals. So I'm saying that, for instance, this was a good opportunity for the NFA to be part of this, or even the Black Star experience to be also part of it, to showcase the films to us. But it looks like that's a private initiative.
But Uncle Ken, we don't know for a fact if they are supporting them in any way.
Again, this is what I'm saying. I'm just bringing out the promises they made and what I think should be happening or what is happening in the sectors. Support creatives to participate in international trade fairs to promote Ghanaian arts and culture. You see, for the lack of information from the ministry is a serious problem. Because if some of the things are being done or have been done, we don't hear about them. Yesterday I heard on the radio that a Ghanaian contingent has traveled to Spain or under the auspices of the Creative Arts Ministry. I'm not too sure what it is about, but Kojo is nodding there. So, what is it? Yeah.
The high life to the world.
Exactly.
Yes.
To the world thing.
I did a story on that.
You did a story on that?
Yes.
And for once I missed it.
It was sent to me from the ministry.
Okay, so something of that nature is being done?
Yes.
Okay.
Under the Banner Black Star experience.
Oh, and that is also under the Banner Black Star experience?
According to them.
Ah, interesting. Establish a film village and facilitate access to affordable equipment for filmmakers. That we know has not been. I'm not sure whether they've even started something towards this. We needed a government official here to tell us what they have done and what they have not done. Otherwise, we are speculating as we go along on most of the issues. There was a few more. Rehabilitate the National Theatre in Accra. Has rehabilitation started?
We know they had a grant from the Chinese government, which is $30 million.
Yes, they talked about the grant, but because people are still having shows there, are they not?
They earmarked a time. I think it was supposed to have undergone rehabilitation. I think March or so. It was postponed. Yeah.
And build a second in Kumasi. Someone raised it. I think it was Francis or
Olele Salvador.
Olele Salvador raised it. He was wondering whether the land has even been secured. Okay. Now I'm saying that most of these promises do not have timelines to them. So that makes it very difficult for us to sit here today and chastise people for not achieving something we think they should achieve, because there are no timelines. And they'll tell you, I have 4 years to rule the country, so I'm pursuing. You remember that word?
Yes.
Yeah, it was very popular.
It was prominent in the MPP manifesto.
In the MPP manifesto.
2016.
So they're still pursuing some of these promises. And if they are, you can't challenge them for that, you know. Establish a formal fund to support aging artists. Kwame, you deal with Musica a lot. Do you know anything about?
No, Musica has its own welfare policy.
Yeah.
That's different from the government's promise.
The other one that I'm very interested in, offer subsidized rates for performances at government-owned venues, such as the Black Star Square and the Accra International Conference Center, and so on. Has that been happening?
No.
You see?
Robert Clark is an event organizer. I'm not
Robert
sure.
is here.
I'm not sure he's enjoyed that yet.
George Quay would have been a good person to tell us whether he enjoyed anything from.
George does his plays at the National Theatre.
At the National Theatre.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, that's also
and Robert as well. He's been doing stuff at the Grand Arena and the other places. So
you see, some of these promises are what we term low-hanging fruits. That if the government had implemented this, everyone will sit back and say, oh yes, they promised this, they'll be able to do that. Because this particular promise, I don't think it's too difficult a promise to keep. You know what I mean? Yes, but here we are. Hold annual stakeholder dialogues with the creative arts sector. Have you had any since?
Not yet.
Have you met your minister?
Not yet.
At a stakeholders meeting?
Maybe she's met some people, some smaller groups of people, but she's not met the entire industry yet.
She's not?
Yes.
But just before we came on air, Jesse posed a question to me and asked me, has your... No, but I'm giving you credit for bringing it up, Jesse. Jesse asked me, Ken, has our minister attended the accountability series yet? And I raked my friend. I said, oh, no, not that I know of. Not that I know of. But you see, I was very interested.
Jesse, where you go?
I was very interested in that question because only yesterday, while I was doing my research on some of the things that they promised to see whether they've been able to do something about the promises, I came across this, and it was very interesting.
Okay.
Listen to this. The Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts has outlined major policies and achievements aimed at strengthening Ghana's tourism and cultural sectors during a high-level stakeholder consultative meeting in Accra on Wednesday, July the 15th. Did you know about this?
That's a high level.
Oh, say stakeholder and you say high level.
But you said high level.
He said stakeholder too.
No, can you read again? There's a high level there.
Has outlined major policies and achievements aimed at strengthening Ghana's tourism and cultural sectors during a high-level stakeholder consultative meeting in Accra.
That wasn't what we were promised. We were promised a general engagement.
Addressing the stakeholders.
Okay.
The Minister of Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts, Abla Jifa Gomashi, said the meeting was an opportunity for the ministry to account for its performance while engaging industry players on the way forward.
Okay.
So it caught my attention. I said, hey, something of this nature happened. I didn't hear about it till I saw this news item. She further disclosed that the ministry has collaborated with the Ghana Statistical Service to undertake the Ghana International Travelers Survey and develop Ghana's first tourism satellite account. According to her, The initiative will collect comprehensive data on international visitors, measure tourism spending, and establish an internationally recognized framework for assessing tourism's contribution to Ghana's GDP, employment, and the wider economy. The minister also celebrated Ghana's latest international cultural achievement following the successful inscription of highlife music, Olele, you mentioned it, and highlife dance on UNESCO's representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. Ghana also attained another significant international milestone with a successful inscription of highlife music and highlife dance on UNESCO's representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity, reaffirming our country's invaluable contribution to global heritage, cultural heritage. The consultative meeting brought together stakeholders from both private and government sectors of tourism, culture, and creative arts sectors to review the ministry's progress, identity challenges affecting the industry, and discuss strategies to further position the sector as a key driver of national development. So in answer to Jesse's question...
Jesse hasn't asked a question yet.
No, that he posed to me off air. This is the answer that I want to give to him and to the audience out there. So, Kwame, you see...
But Uncle Ken,
yeah.
Are you sure this was what was promised the industry during that stakeholder engagement that President Mahama had with us on 7th June 2024?
From the ones
he said
that
they would have a national dialogue for the creative arts industry. We've not seen that yet. This was a high-level stakeholder engagement.
Right. That highlighted achievements.
Yes.
So you see the achievements that she highlighted. Then you can checkmate those achievements with the promises and see where some of them have not even been looked at all. So this is a very good thing that we are doing here this evening. And the information flow from the agencies under the ministry have been a bit slow. Because I know for a fact that GTDC have also done a few things. You know, like the night, what is it?
Then Accra Night, so the night talks.
And a few others.
Then they have the Ghana Tourism Marketplace.
Yes, the marketplace, the digital marketplace.
And then the Ghana Tourism Investment Platform as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you see, some certain things have been done that may be outside the scope of the promises that were made. We are interested in the promises that were made because the promises came about from stakeholder engagements with members of the industry as to what they wanted. And that's why those promises were made. So it is incumbent on the government and the ministry to make sure that they deal with some of those promises that they made and at least check out the low-hanging fruits and put them out as quickly as possible so people can see progress in their administration. Thank you.
Thank you, Uncle Ken. Let's put our hands together for Uncle Ken. Uncle Ken, you did 40 minutes.
Oh!
Uncle Ken did 40 minutes. You are still watching us live from the studios of Joy Prime, and we're live on Joy News and Joy 99.7 FM. This is Showbiz Roundtable, and it's the 9th edition today. We are just reviewing the government's impact on our industry so far. As Uncle Ken said, maybe it is too early for us to expect government to do everything, but there must be some foundations laid, some steps taken, and that is what we're looking at today. And so you can also send us your comments and your questions ahead of time. 0551111 is our WhatsApp number. You can also send to 0551575757. You can send via that number as well, or do so on our social media handles, Joy 99.7 FM on Facebook, X, or you can do so via Joy Prime and Joy News as well. It's time to have the man, Jesse, Agyepong. But before that, we are running a poll on social media, okay? If you've been monitoring the progress of this government so far, we're asking you to just go on social media and cast your vote, if you like. So we're asking, 20 months into the current government's tenure, which sector has recorded the greatest progress? Is it tourism? Is it creative art? Is it culture? Or none of the above? We're also asking you that how would you rate the impact of this government on tourism, culture, and creative art? Is it excellent? Is it good? Is it average or poor? We are expecting your comments. Let them come through via the various social media handles and our WhatsApp number. Time to invite our man, Jesse Agyepong. Put your hands together for him.
No, but I'll sit down.
You will sit down.
I'll sit down. I didn't have the privilege of putting my slides together.
That's beautiful.
As Olele Salvador had done. As usual, I really want to go foundational a little bit.
Yes, sir.
And first, I agree with almost everything that they have said. I don't think that anybody will be writing saying the government hasn't done anything. And I don't think this conversation is about whether or not the government is working. And I always say, let's go back to the foundation, because that's where the opportunity can be traced from. Before the appointment, I sat here in the studio of Joy FM.
Yeah.
And I was clear in my mind that whoever leads the ministry will be saddled with a major responsibility. And the team that the person works with would have a major job to do. I outlined some of the things that I felt were monumental. And the reason they were monumental is this. His Excellency the President didn't come into office believing in the status quo. His Excellency, like I said that day at Joy, I celebrated his perspective on resetting the country. So we would evaluate the president not because the government organized a culinary activity, but we would evaluate the government based on its own bold decisions to reset the sector. That's number one. Number two, the benchmark for resetting, I'll give you two. Take a look at what the government has done in terms of the fiscal stability within the economy. And the government is bold enough to say that from a currency point of view, there's fiscal discipline, the currency is stable, the CD is strong. Now that somebody would say is a proper reset. Can you say same in your industry? That's a separate conversation to have. Second thing, for those who are studying law today, the government is bold to beat its chest to say that there's been a reset within the legal steady space. That's a bold decision. So I think that I'm happy about everything that you're saying, but the question is, to what extent would you say that the bold decisions this government put to paper are being pursued to achieve the reset agenda of the government? That's the baseline. Number two is, if I ever become president of the Republic of Ghana, or let's say, let me be humble a bit, vice president of the Republic of Ghana, you will let me be charitable. Let's say I'm minister of the Republic of Ghana. No. Minister of the Republic of Ghana. I want to be evaluated based on what I'm about to do. So a political party puts a manifesto together. The manifesto draws from every stakeholder within the industry. That manifesto could be 1,300 pages of intent. So when your Joy analyst was doing the presentation, he took me to the intent of the government and gave me a long list of intent of the government. But assuming I even hold the 20 months in perspective, why should I be benchmarking the intent of the government alone when I can also evaluate the intent and the priority options of the government? Let me explain. The party's document is a manifesto. But when the government comes into office, the government's document becomes what? The government's policy statement. So the first question is, the intention of the government in the manifesto, why did many of them not find reflection in the priority of the government for year one and year two? Mm-hmm. So there's a manifesto, there's a policy position, and there's whether or not a budget allocation has been made to achieve that. So if today you come and tell me that the government said 2 years ago that they intend to build 2 houses in Dansoman, in the government's prioritization for 2025 and 2026, did that find reflection in the government's intention or in the government's plan? If the answer is no, then that's the problem. 2, a government can't do everything. That's why the prioritization is super important. Next thing that I would say is this. In talking about government activity, and again, I have, like I said, like the intro said, I've been privileged to consult for many ministries: finance, energy, communication, trade, a lot. And I'm clear in my mind that when we think of government's performance, we're always thinking of the activity rather than the impact. So it's easier for you to say that we've organized a fashion activity, but what's the impact of that activity? It's easy for you to say 20 million has been released or disbursed or allocated, and 5 million has been disbursed, and an application has been opened for the actors in the industry to apply for. But what's the likely impact of that? And the reason I'm starting from there is this. Let me take you to a few bits that I've teased on it because I have 10 minutes. I don't want to, sorry. I had 10 minutes. I probably have 2 minutes. And I'm going to read it slowly for you to understand, Kwame. Create and promote the Black Star experience as Ghana's flagship culture, arts, and tourism brand. For what? To redefine and affirm Ghana's identity. 1, attract investment. 2, and create new jobs. 3, and the final one, to increase tourism. So pick each one by one. And I know that the Black Star experience is really at its infant stage. But at the stage and how it's running now, do you foresee that it is attracting investment? You have to answer that because you are the actors in the industry. Number 2, in the first 20 months or 12 months or 16 months, do you see that it is helping to shape the identity that we are looking to achieve as a country? Number 3, is it creating the new jobs that we are looking for? And number 4, is it increasing tourism into the country? Francis's 14% growth, 14%, 1.4% growth. Is it triggered by the Black Star experience? Stop here. Again, go back to the manifesto. Every manifesto, in my view, may have 3 parts in terms of the delivery of the priorities. There are things that may be delivered in the short term, there are things that may be delivered in the medium term, and there are things that may be delivered in the long term. The fact that it's a manifesto doesn't mean that it has to be achieved in 4 years. Some have a much more broader outlook. So this question I'm asking the Black Star experience, which in my view was and is one of the most profound pillars, if it succeeds, would become something years down the line we will celebrate as the biggest driver of our cultural heritage and our identity change. It's still at a very nascent stage. Is it working? And how is it working? Number 2. And again, pay attention, because I know the industry, we like to talk about activities a lot, rather than speaking about the impact of it. Improve tertiary and quaternary hospitals to boost health tourism. To do what?
Boost health tourism.
Good. So the objective is clear. It's not about painting a hospital. Because you see, and this vision, it's a very big one. Health tourism is a big deal. So how are we moving towards that? 3, partner with stakeholders in the Ghana's film industry to position it among the top 3 producers in Africa. Where are you? I mean, you and I, our first fight was because when I sat here with the incoming CEO of
Kafi Danku.
Kafui Danku, and I asked, oh, what's her plan for the sector? I didn't get a chance to listen to it. But you should be able to ask yourself one fundamental question. Her objective is not to do regular. This NDC vision is a bold one to be the top 3 producer in Africa. It'd be huge matter. Next, revive the Creative Arts Fund to provide sustainable financial support. Stop there. What is the operative word? Sustainable. So when you pick as an example health, you are clear in your mind that there's NHealth sitting somewhere which we collect and give to them. It's dedicated. VAT has somewhere it goes to. But if you don't have a sustainable inflow into a fund, and it becomes a one-off fund, you would dance in the market square.
Yeah.
Again, I'm drawing your attention to it. And I would end with one question, back to what Uncle Ken has said.
Uncle Ken will answer the question.
Oh, yeah, of course. My biggest excitement of the whole NDC manifesto, which as an Nzima, I was very jealous of, and I'm half Nzima, half Ashanti.
Okay.
Was in section 332 of the manifesto. Initiate plans for a new city on the banks of the Volta region, with facilities that will generate art activities and boost tourism. In my view, as an Nzima, I was hoping that Chale would go get some for Nzima. But do you know how big this would be if we support the government for this to work? It will be a showpiece. So again, where are we with that? Last point. Transform the Volta region into a medical tourism hub. Stop. What does that mean? And where are we? My belief is this, that it's possible the government may be inching towards some of these things. But you and I don't know it. Which is what endeared me to ask Uncle Ken the question that, have you seen an accountability series? Have we seen a detailed presentation from the ministry in terms of their activities? And the reason why I'm interested in activities now and not impact is this. He's right. The government hasn't, the ministers and the CEOs haven't been in office for 20 months. And if you've played in a government space for a long time, like maybe I have done, you understand that budget cycle is a bit different. And the tenor for turnaround can be a bit heavy on them.
Yeah.
Don't forget, many of them also in the system are quite new. So you technically have seen CEOs being in office, let's say, for 10 months, really, really working 11 months or 12 months. Maximum, let's say, 15 months. I'm being charitable. But is that window an enough time to see the progress? So let's put impact aside for now. At the very least, you and I are owed, what are you doing in the agency? So my conclusion will be this. This program would have seen more value if it was preceded by a government spokesperson, or preferably let's just say that the minister may have organized what we have been doing so far, not in a scattered document. And I know, Kwame, you're reaching out for your GTA documentations. No. I'm talking about a full sector presentation that says that our manifesto commitments are broken into 3 parts. They're the big investment ticket items, they're the medium-term items, and they are low-hanging fruits. In terms of low-hanging fruits, we've clocked 80%. Because those are easy things to do. Fashion space with KOD 1957, ABCD, you're doing that. Then there are the long-term big ones. Until that conversation is had, really and truly, we can assume, we can hope. But in my view, read between the lines. We're not racing against activity. We are racing against impact. And I thank you very much.
Thank you, Jesse Agyepong. That is awesome. Jesse Agyepong there, he's lead consultant, Jesse and Associate. And you're still listening to Showbiz Roundtable 9th edition. Let me remind you that this program is sponsored by MTN. Everywhere you go, MTN is rewarding its customers. If you've been with them for some time now, you stand a chance of winning some amazing prizes as they celebrate 30 years of operating here in Ghana. And so you can win over 10 million Ghana cedis cash prizes. You can win, they're giving out 9 brand new Land Cruiser Prados. Yes, already I have taken mine, so you can take the remainder. So just stay tuned and get interactive with them. You can dial *530# and get interactive with MTN. Take part in the promo, so you can also win some of these amazing prizes. Let me tell you about High Five Choco Malt. Once you get this one, at this point in time, when you go for a break, we are taking ours right here with some hot fruit or meat pie, and so get yours as well. And don't forget to send us your comments and your questions. Already, some brilliant ideas have been listed already here from my panel members, so you can also send in yours as well. And let me tell you about a play that is staging. It started last week. George Quay's play, Guyanese Pound of Flesh, started last week, and it is continuing this week. And so if you're not able to make it at 4 p.m., you can do so at 8 p.m. tomorrow as well. It is staging at the National Theatre. The rate is a cool 200 Ghana cedis. Please make sure that you go see this play. Let's take a breather. When we come back, we get into some more exciting conversations.
Greater Works 2026. Speaking, Pastor Matthew Ashimolowo, Bishop Tudor Bismarck, Bishop Mike Okonko, Pastor Paul Adefarasin, and our conference host, Pastor Mensa Otabil. Date, Monday the 3rd of August to Friday the 7th of August 2026. Morning sessions, Tuesday to Friday. Time, 9 a.m. Evening sessions, Monday to Friday. Time, 5 p.m. each night. Venue, ICGC Christ Temple East. Special song ministrations by Joe Metal, Once More 6, Nathaniel Bassi, Dunsin Oyekan. For more details, visit gwcentral.org. Greater Works 2026. It's coming down.
Africa like you've never seen before.
This is Wodemaya Travels. The mission is to share positive African stories, celebrate culture, tourism, identity, and history.
I mean, this is the tiniest market that I've ever seen across my travels in the world. I mean, you can be in the market and feel the breeze that is happening, which makes it what? Great.
Join Wodemaya, Africa's biggest YouTube vlogger, as he uncovers untold stories, hidden gems, and the heartbeats of the continent. This is Wodemaya Travels. Wodemaya Travels.
This and every Saturday at 6:30 p.m. only on Joy Prime.
This is not just rap. This is not just lyrics. This is War on the Mic. Welcome to Beats and Bars, the ultimate rap battle competition in Ghana, where raw talents meet hungry ambition, where bars hit harder and only the strongest survive.
Fanboy no they pay. Sudi agoro be best sorti o get bonnet is such as kelly.
Okay, on a man, I'm another one. But reject another one. Phantom now. Madame Surupu, we are ransom.
2 communities, 2 fearless MCs, 3 intense rounds, 1 undisputed champion. No backing down, no mercy, just skill, flow, delivery, and bars.
You better get in it.
I say, shake it, bala bala, shake it, bala bala, shake it, bala bala.
Who owns the mic? Who controls the stage? Who takes the crown? Beats and Bars.
The Royal House Chapel International presents Power in His Presence.
suggest to you that what you are going through, it is because there is oil on your head and the devil can't do anything about it. Clap your hands and say, I am going somewhere.
That's right. I am Thapki. When I was a kid, I was always scared of saying anything. But my dear ones, they gave me immense courage. And now, today I want to share my story. Do you think you'll be able to spare some time for me?
There are some hiccups in her talks, but she will steal your heart.
From the rich melodies of jazz to the infectious grooves of Afrobeats, soulful beats of high life, live music bands are setting Ghana's cosmopolitan cities ablaze.
Band culture is the way to go.
With exciting rhythms of the city, what makes a great band stand out? Is it the talent, the chemistry, or the culture?
What we do is pure organic.
Our niche, it's growing.
Get an exclusive backstage pass to meet the artists. Join Becky on the all-new E-Vibes musical band series. The experience is electric. E-Vibes musical band series. Africa like you've never seen before.
This is Wodemaya Travels. The mission is to share positive African stories, celebrate culture, tourism, identity, and history.
I mean, this is the tiniest market that I've ever seen across my travels in the world. I mean, you can be in the market and feel the breeze that is happening, which makes it what? Great.
Join Wodemaya, Africa's biggest YouTube vlogger, as he uncovers untold stories, hidden gems, and the heartbeats of the continent. This is Wodemaya Travels. Wodemaya Travels.
This and every Saturday at 6:30 p.m. only on Joy Prime.
Angel on the track. I'm a lit kid beat.
We are having fun on Funky's Paradise. Yeah, 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 yeah. We are having fun on Funky's Paradise. Yeah,
adventure is small.
Yeah,
no need
yeah.
to think twice.
We are having fun on Funky's Paradise. Yeah, 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 yeah. We are having fun on Funky's Paradise. Yeah,
adventure is small. No need to think twice.
We are building a learning, reaching new heights. Our curious minds shine like the lights.
With puzzles to solve and crafts so precise. We laugh out loud, it's pure delight.
We are having fun on Funky's Paradise. Yeah, 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 yeah. We are having fun on Funky's Paradise. Yeah,
adventure
yeah,
is small.
Yeah,
no need
yeah.
to think twice.
We are having fun on Funky's Paradise. Yeah, 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 yeah. We are having fun on Funky's Paradise. Yeah,
adventure
yeah,
is small.
Yeah,
no need to think twice.
From science tricks to a story so wise. We play and grow under sunny skies.
Together we rise like birds that fly. For kids is the place, come give it a try.
We are having
Kayla.
Yo, it's your baby girl Leroy. Yeah, it's your star boy Kelly in the
Kids Paradise, showing this and every Saturday at 11 a.m. only on Joy Prime.
This is not just rap. This is not just lyrics. This is War on the Mic. Welcome to Beats and Bars, the ultimate rap battle competition in Ghana, where raw talents meet hungry ambition, where bars hit harder and only the strongest survive.
Fanboy no they pay. Sudi agoro be best sort o get a bonnet is such as Kelly.
Okay, on the man, I'm another one. Let me check another one. Phantom now. Madame Surupu, we are ransom.
2 communities, 2 fearless MCs, 3 intense rounds, 1 undisputed champion. No backing down, no mercy, just skill, flow, delivery, and bars.
You better get to it. I say, shake your bala bala, shake your bala bala, shake your bala bala.
Who owns the mic? Who controls the stage? Who takes the crown? Beats and Bars. This is not just rap. This is not just lyrics. This is War on the Mic. Welcome to Beats and Bars, the ultimate rap battle competition in Ghana, where raw talents meet hungry ambition, where bars hit harder and only the strongest survive.
Fanboy no they pay. Sudi agoro be best sort o get a bonnet is such as Kelly.
Okay, on the man, I'm another one. Let me check another one. Phantom now. Madame Surupu, we are ransom.
2 communities, 2 fearless MCs, 3 intense rounds, 1 undisputed champion. No backing down, no mercy, just skill, flow, delivery, and bars.
You better get to it.
I say, shake your bala bala, shake your bala bala, shake your bala bala.
Who owns the mic? Who controls the stage? Who takes the crown? Beats and Bars.
Thank you very much for leaving your dials on Joy 99.7 FM, Joy Prime, and Joy News. This is the 9th edition of Showbiz Roundtable. And today we are tracking government promises and the underlying impacts they've made in tourism, culture, and creative arts space so far since they came into power. And we've had the presentations from our panel members already. In a moment, we'll be engaging the studio audience as well. But on 7th June, 2024, something happened at the AH Hotel where the NDC held a stakeholder engagement with the people of the industry, outlining their promises and their ideas for the industry. Take a look.
We will maintain the Ministry of Tourism and Creative Arts. This ministry was conceptualized by the NDC government because at first the creative arts were under the National Commission on Culture and was not receiving much attention. And so we believe that it must come under a sector ministry so that it will receive more attention than it did. And our first minister was Elizabeth Ofosu-Adjare. And she did a lot of work with you during her time. And unfortunately, that has not been sustained over the last 8 years. So we're going to bring back dynamism into that ministry. And the ministry is going to be your ministry. And so it's not going to be some white elephant sitting there and you also sitting somewhere. You will be called to meetings in the ministry to decide on policy together. There's no policy that we're going to do for the creative arts that will not have your stakeholder intervention. I can promise you that. Your sector is going to be a key part of the 24-hour economy. And so you are one of the pillars of the 24-hour economy. And so whatever incentives and budgets are being done under the 24-hour economic policy would also affect the tourism and creative arts industry. We will strengthen and operationalize the Creative Arts Agency so that it can be a one-stop shop for all creative arts. And we will finance it so that it's able to do what it's meant to do. We're going to declare the golden age of culture, arts, and tourism. That will be our overarching policy for the sector. It will be the golden age of culture, arts, and tourism. And under it, there will be a lot of actions and other modules that we intend to implement. And the central pillar of this golden age of culture, arts, and tourism will be promoting job creation and entrepreneurship in the creative arts industry. A key component of this will be the promotion in partnership with the private sector of film festivals where Ghanaian films can be exhibited. Music shows would be promoted, fashion weeks, and so all the creative designers and others would be able to exhibit their fashion. We'll have arts exhibitions so that all our creative artists can also exhibit their works. We'll have food exhibitions, food exhibitions that promote Ghanaian foods, so that people can come and taste all the foods from Ghana. We'll have the drama and theater arts, and so playwrights who write plays would be supported to exhibit their plays, and people would be encouraged to come and watch. And I'll myself attend a lot of these exhibitions. And so if we're having film festivals, music festivals, as much as possible, myself or Nana Jane will be there to raise the quality of the production. And then under the golden age.
All right, that's the president. Then he was a flag bearer of the NDC, and he had this engagement with the stakeholders of tourism, culture, and creative arts at the AH Hotel, East Legon, Accra, on 7th June 2024, and he was just outlining things that they would do for the industry if they were voted into power. Now they have power, and we are here to assess the impact they have made so far. 19-20 months into government or into power, how have they fared? You can send us your comments now, 055-1111-997, our WhatsApp number. You can do so as well on 0551-575757. And you can also go on our social media handles and engage with us. In the meantime, we have some of our studio audience. These are industry stakeholders, high-level industry stakeholders seated, and so I'll be moving to them in a moment to engage them. If they have some questions, first round of questions, I will engage them and I come back to the panel. I see Robert. Robert is ready. He has a tall list of concerns. Robert, hi.
Very tall.
Okay, the microphone is there. Hello, Rob.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm great.
Great.
Yes.
So we are assessing impact now today, and so far so good with all the submissions made. I know you have something to say.
Yes, actually, so I came here with high hopes because I actually wanted to listen to an account from government, more or less. Call it state of the sector address if we have to. And the reason is because there are things that have been done, scattered, you could say, and I know some of the things are not in Accra. They are in different parts of the country because obviously Ghana is not just Accra, Kumasi. So you want to be able to get that kind of information from all of these quarters, and then based off that, it will be easier for us to be able to share our feedback, because we would really want for them to have input from us. And it's very clear that the president was just mentioning that that's the kind of that's the kind of ministry they want to run in terms of policy making, etc. But it looks like that component is not available. So I will...
Okay, let me chip in this. So we've done our background checks and research. We've had some research from the various institutions in government, and so we have a list of things done. I'll run through that in a moment. So you finish with the submission, I'll zap through that, and then we continue.
Great. So that is my key highlight, and then that would serve as a premise to some of the questions and contributions that I have. Then secondly, I am particularly happy with this particular program because I like the fact that at specific intervals we can get to engage or discuss what the government is doing, because then what it means is that we are very clear on what the goals are and what is being done, and so we can also contribute our quota in terms of giving feedback as to what needs to be done for it to be able to get to the point where it needs to get to. I have quite a number of things, but I'm hoping that maybe when we come to the second one, I can get into those specific areas. Otherwise, kudos to the entire Showbiz Roundtable team for making it.
Thank you very much, Robert Clark. Austin Wood, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Did you come from UK or from Akumadan? Akumadan. Good to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The things we accuse the ministry of, we've done quite similar here. We've talked a lot about tourism, but little about creative arts. So it means it's endemic in us.
Austin, we are not done.
No, I know, but we can't do first 2 hours and little about 20% less. But do you check a lot of creative arts here? How many tourism people are here? When we are going for such events, we are the ones coming. We the creative arts. But we have spent about 80% of our dialogue on tourism. But I'm doing the same. Francis, I would want to ask this. The jump in the visitors, right? I have a problem with the data collection and how it's done. But the amount spent, shouldn't we be judging it by also 2024? Because it's a comparative analysis. Because of the inflation rate of above 20%, if in 2025 it's dropped, it means people coming will be spending less. Can that account for that? Because that's a huge jump. Inflation was 23. It's dropped, I think, up to about 9 or something in 2025. So it means that if I was expending much when I come to Ghana on a service, now it's not jumping that high. Can that account for that? Also, comparative to the other countries you use, maybe South Africa might have inflationary rate which is very, very low comparative to ours. So the tourists who go there might not be expending that much on other things. That is why I think we need to do the breakdown of what they are expending on. And I have that data as well. You know, there's too much they are expending on hotel bills and all that. But the challenge also is they are asked if they were happy with it. If you check the data, and majority of them are saying they were okay with the prices hotels are charging. And if they are okay, and say Bruni we should be okay with that. Now, moving to their promises. I don't trust the things they put in the manifesto. Yes, because you see, go check from 1996. MPP and NDC have been putting same things in their manifesto. We will do this for the industry. We will build this. We will help improve this. So I agree with Jesse that says that the problem we have in Ghana when we talk about policy and all that is we are always not looking at the impact it is having. We are always not looking at it. Because you see, film fund, I don't know if you have some film people here, but 20 million for a film fund will do nothing, next to nothing. You cannot even do a proper movie with even just 20 million. But the act that was passed in Parliament talks about other sources of funding for the fund. What has our minister done? Because you see, Kwame, ask those who are also in this industry that when they do George Quay plays and we will take percentages and put into the fund. Are we doing that? That's the challenge we have. Now, I believe that it is not a 20 million Because they will tout their achievements that they put 20 million before there was zero. That is not it. It will not help us. What I expect them to do, like the sustainability Jesse talked about, is before 2014, from 2006, when Samuel Nyamiche started the renaissance of Ghana movies, if you that was when within a week we could produce like 15 movies. I'm not talking about quality and all that now, but I'm just doing something numbers for you to see. If you expend close to 300,000 on a movie, right? You were raking in close to 5 million Ghana cedi. I know this for a fact. The Kumawood people, they were raking in close to 5 million cedis from movies because they send it to Seshi to Muhamle Akumadan in cars selling them. What we expect is like how Agricultural Development Bank was brought in to help Ghanaian farmers get access to cheap interest rates on loans. So we have the Ghana Exim Bank. Ghana Exim Bank is set up to help in export and import. Amachi Dede's song, which was used by Shirley Frimpong Manso in that movie, it's an old high life song, but immediately Shirley used it in that movie, it brought that nostalgia and it was played on radio like it's a new song. So it tells you even what Kakalika and Kofi Kenata's song did for sports, a World Cup event. So if we want to market products from Ghana through the Ghana Exim Bank, how are they helping us, creatives, so that our works will be attached to these things? If we go to banks for loans, for movies, at the same rate as businessmen, we will not survive. Creatives will not survive. We cannot pay those interest rates. No. That is why we want something to be created for us through maybe Ghana Exim Bank. So that what we do, we would get soft loans at cheaper interest rates, beat down interest rates, so that we will produce more. That will support the film fund. But putting 20 million, how many movies can 20 million create for Ghana?
They've opened applications, you can apply and then get a fund.
And I'm saying that's seed money. If you check the other sources of funding into that, I'm telling you, we will not get 50 million. And everybody knows that to produce a proper movie, to get to international standards, you need close to 10 million, $1 million is 10 million cedis. You cannot do that. But if you are getting soft loans at cheaper rates, it will help us to go in for it because we can produce it. Then lastly, you see, they don't respect what we do. They don't. That is why we don't find ourselves in a lot of the things they say. But Kwame, let me tell you, if Samuel Nyamiche is producing a movie, right, do you know he takes close to 100 people to the location?
Yeah, on set.
When he takes them there, right, they buy food. Yeah. They sleep in hotels and motels. They would expend for close to 3 months. That is where Francis data collection comes in. The problem we in creative find is Sarkodie organizes Rapaholic in Kumasi. For 3 weeks, it's all about that. It is because of Rapaholic that all those people went to Kumasi. But when data is being collected where they slept, it will be credited to tourism.
But that is part of tourism.
No, I'm saying, so when it comes, they are always taking it.
Taking the credit.
All. But tell me, the people Sarkodie took to Kumasi, not him, but people who went to Kumasi for those 3 weeks, right? We should be disaggregating the data for we creatives to also have our share. JC, I agree with you. We are not solving the basics. It's like, oh, somebody will throw something at a wall, it will stick. Somebody will say, I'll do this, it will stick. So everything is scattered. We need to go to the basics. Once we solve the basics, a lot of things will come. Ending. We give money to NCCE. we give money to a lot of state institutions for their communication, for a lot of things. But I have a problem with our minister. She is from our stock, but she's failed for me.
She's failed?
Oh, she's failed.
Why do you say?
You see, when the Bank of Ghana and the government of Ghana, they were introducing the new currency, which people, what comes to your mind when we talk about that? There is no change in value.
The value is this.
You think which people created that? Is it the Bank of Ghana? It's we creatives, including our minister. What has she been able to do for us? Workshops, like Uncle Ken was reading, stakeholder, workshop. They are not solving the basics.
Maybe she's doing the foundational work.
What foundational work has she done? What has she done?
Work.
When I'm telling you, I'm from Kumasi. The land that they said they should look for to build the second national theater, has she met anybody there?
Maybe you don't know.
Why wouldn't I know? Because I'm a stakeholder there.
Oh.
Kwame, you know, when we went to Parliament to talk about the film village,
yes,
I led it. I wrote the petition to Parliament. I led it.
I remember.
That time, our minister met all of us, all the 3 areas we visited. Offenso, Kumsu, all. We were part of the team, the minister's team, who visited the area. How can you come to Kumasi to build a film? They are not doing it. If they were doing it, they would have come to us. We would know that they are looking for the land. They are not doing it. What they are doing is throwing things at the wall, the one that will stick, then they will come and highlight it. When they will say, well, we did that, we have gone to cook, we have gone to do this, all of that, it is not to help the industry. Let us go to the basics and build from basics. When we build from there, all the industry will enjoy from it, not what they are doing. They have failed.
All right. Thank you, Austin, the controversial Wood. We'll come back to you, okay? And put your hands together for Austin Wood. Who has the microphone now? Is there Lexi? Is there Percy? FOCAP president.
Yeah.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon, how you doing?
I'm fine. How is FOCAP?
Oh, FOCAP is doing well.
Are you very strong?
Yeah, we're active.
Very active?
Very active. To the extent that we're the people who decided in our first year, is it okay?
Yeah.
Oh, I should wake up. Okay, sorry.
Okay, yes.
Because of where I am.
So
okay, so
can see you.
You heard Uncle Ken talking about people, some people giving 0 to the government. I mean, FOCAP in our first year review, we gave the government 0, and we still insist that it is 0.
When was that?
Oh, we did it the first year, 2025 years.
Okay.
When they were out there saying things that the government has done, we decided to also hold our own press conference to look at all the things that they said they wanted to do. So we scored the NDC government 0, and 6 months down the lane, it is still 0.
Hey,
yes, it's still 0. But I want to touch on some few issues that were raised. Okay, so
no, but Kojo, before you go on to touch on some few issues, you need to explain why 0.
Okay, so it's 0 because, one, we were not looking at the normal procedural ministry work when you get there to do. I mean, we know there are meetings, we know there are travels to do conferences, we know you need to do 1 or 2 visits to certain places, I mean, sign papers and all that. We're looking at why you are in government, why we voted for you. We voted for you based on something you told us that we're convinced, so we stood in the sun and use our thumbprint to say, yes, we want you to be there. You are in. You have not even set up any foundation for some of these things that you said. Like Uncle Ken said, some of them are easy. I still believe that the manifesto that they brought is far better than the MPP, because these ones are low-hanging fruits that it is easy for you to do. One of them that we've not even touched on to say that you want to gather content creators to have an agenda to promote Ghanaian culture. The foundation is set already for you. You have content creators all over.
You think they are not using them?
If we were using them, you could have felt it.
I've been seeing the minister with that guy. The other guy, the one who went to Zambia, if anything.
Exactly.
What's his name?
Goshes. You don't even have the name offered, but I'm saying that there's a deliberate attempt to see you promote Ghana. That is the impact we're looking for. Have we seen it? Have we seen you do anything beyond that? No, it is zero. You understand? I mean, ordinary things like cutting, rates for event centers. What would take you 10 years? 1 year, 9 months to do that? No, it is not. You understand? So for me, it is something that we really want to do.
For the first time, we have a board for the Creative Arts Agency.
Yes, it's a normal procedure that was a defect. In the previous government. So
but
doing
that was something you spoke about.
Exactly, it was a defect that we saw, and we fixed it because in the act it's supposed to be done. So the act is even there already.
And you are not scoring them for that.
No, it is there. The act which was done was not done even when they were in power. It is there. It is stating that you need to have a board. Okay, so coming into, put it into action, you've not done anything that...
There's some work done.
No, there's no work done there. Again, we're talking about the Creative Art Fund.
Yeah.
Okay, so 20 million or 40 million will be given. Jesse was talking about the impact that we need to look at.
Yeah.
And then, sustainability. Let me deal with the sustainability. The act in itself has given how you need to sustain it. So there's no excuse for anybody who goes there as a CEO or deputy to say that you do not know how to do it. From day one, 8 years ago, we had this Act 935 there established, telling you how to sustain a fund. None of these people, from Juliet to David Donto, now to Kafui and all that, have come out to implement anything. I asked the same question when I met the Apiro to say that, okay, you have taken 20 million, you have taken 5 million now, you started sharing it. What are you doing apart from sharing the 5 million? Because it's a long-term thing. Now, if you give me even 20,000, you're expecting me to pay back. You're expecting within even the fund to say that there are grants. So it might shock us that maybe 80% or 90% of the money that they will give are grants that will not come back again. So how are you going to sustain it? Listen, you have enterprises under the film authority. The enterprises I'm talking about, all of us know, the actors, the directors, all those people are enterprises under the film authority. You don't even have data of these people. You don't even know the number of enterprises you have. As against what GTA can tell you, we know how many enterprises we have. Film authority plus Creative Art Agency do not even know how many people they have under their own regime. And that for me is a big blow. So you don't even know how to even sustain. When indeed...
Gideon Aikwe says they are embarking on a research to get data for...
Exactly my point. So like Uncle Ken said when somebody was asking, now when are you going to finish this data? A year by now. And when are you going to activate what you want to really activate? So for me, the sustainability has been there since. We cried for structures from Uncle Ken's days with the when he was with is that cinematography and all that. We cried for structures. Structures has been given. So we need to know. Since we have structures, things are already in place. So there's no excuse for anybody to say that we don't have any sustainability and the impact being not felt and all that. We know where to get this. Unless we're saying that the people that we have picked do not know what they are supposed to do, then we have another challenge to deal with. But also then with the manifesto that your team came to do and all that, yes, that's a good one.
Great.
I think that
so far as governance is on, I will not agree with the same excuse where people will say they are in using 20 months to judge them. Yes, we have to do that. Even if we didn't tell you that when you came into power, we should be giving you an excuse to say your establishment of your board and all that took 5 months to do or 6 months to do. That is not an excuse for us. We don't care about that. All that we care is that what you told that you have a time frame. President has told us that he has 4 years to deal with every matter he told us in the manifesto. So there's no excuse anywhere for you to tell me that you came in and then you took 2 years or 2 months to set up your board. Why didn't you have it in your pocket when you were telling us that you wanted to come to power? You knew the people you wanted to put there. You didn't come to us to tell us when you didn't know the kind of people you want to put there. So it is no excuse. We'll continue to judge them as and when we have to do, because they promised us that they want to do something. And that's something that you want to do. We have it like book. We have read it. And we are waiting for you to execute all these plans. We need the foundations. Start something. And let us move on with it. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Kojo Preku Dankwa, President of FOCAP. And with that, we are moving on to Emmanuel Frimpong. Yes, Emmanuel.
Yes.
Tourism, right?
Yes. Well, tourism, creative arts, culture, all of them are basically, we all work together. You can't talk about one without talking about the other. But and for me, that is also a debate that we have to look at how we can talk about the sector without talking about the diversifications of I'm from the creative art, I'm from the, because we argue around it and it doesn't help. But first of all, let me congratulate the team for putting this together. I think the timing is right. I don't believe we are looking at the 4 years and we have to wait. No, I think we should have asked these questions long ago. And that is one of the problems that we have had. We are not asking the right questions as private sector. Your team, right from Kofi, the guy that did
Kofi Agyepong,
fantastic, to Salvador, Francis, Mr. Agyepong made some fantastic point. And I think we need to have this engagement over and over and push government. But let me talk about one of the things that is also found in the manifesto. I had opportunity to read the manifesto of NPP, NDC, and Alan. And I think Alan had the best of manifestos when it comes to tourism. The next for me was NDC. So they had some great stuff in the manifesto. I picked just about 13 that relates to tourism because I'm not a creative.
From Alan's manifesto?
No, from NDC. I'm referring to NDC. Good. I mean, their manifesto was great. If you look at the issues that they picked up and they wanted to deal with it, if they had even done just 5%, we would have gone far. Let me pick one, diversification of tourism. And I think Jerry mentioned something from there. They talked about medical tourism, educational tourism, religious tourism, gastronomy, agro-tourism, sports tourism, cultural tourism. And if you pick just this, that's a diversification of tourism, just this, and you want to delve into each one of them, you would realize that by dealing with each one of them, we will even be able to cover a lot of space. Medical tourism, he mentioned it. And I'm co-founder of Africa Medical Tourism Council. So I can tell you on authority that medical tourism, the money that we can generate by focusing on medical tourism alone will blow your mind. What are we doing? Absolutely nothing. Even trying to have a meeting with authority, with the ministry is a challenge. For the past 3 years, we have not been able to meet them to tell them what we are doing, right? We brought Turkish who came here. We know Turkey is into serious medical tourism. They came here, they saw some of the facilities that we have in this country. They were like, wow, you have all this and your people still travel outside. Nigeria is spending $2 billion annually on medical tourism. Just our next door neighbor. What are they going out there to do? Basic surgery that Ghana can offer. Why are we not trying to get Nigerians to come into the country for medical tourism? So as a country, we have a challenge. And the challenge is that we don't see tourism as a business. So national tourism policy or plan, where is it? Where do we have it? Do we have a national tourism development policy or plan? We don't. So we talk about lack of customer service because we don't have any plan for it. How are we training frontline workers in the industry? How many are we employing in the industry? We don't have any idea. Data. We don't. And that comes back to our educational system. We have tourism courses and programs in almost all the universities that we have here. Where do they research? What do they research in? Who are the professors who are in our tourism space? What are they researching into? Our data cannot be relied on. It's a fact. It's a fact. We have to say it. If you talk to GTA, they'll give you some of the challenges that they have. So if you go deep into it, you realize that some of the information that we have, the data that we have, we can't really rely on. Lastly, there is something that we've also not paid attention to. That is a public-private partnership forum, PPPF, which by law, the ministry is supposed to organize it 4 times in a year. 4, every quarter. The whole of last year, this year, we haven't had a single one. And what is a PPF supposed to do? It's supposed to bring all of us in the industry, the private sector and the public sector together to think about the industry. If we are not doing that, if everybody is doing things in isolation, in silos, we are not going anywhere. So as a sector, the private sector must also rise up. Sometimes we blame government and we are also not doing much. Everywhere in the world where tourism has thrived, it has always been the private sector who has been pushing the government, but we don't. It is about NDC, NPP, and we ended there. I think I'll conclude here.
Thank you, Emmanuel Frimpong. We will come back to the audience and take another round of comments. Lexi, I see you. I see Percy, Echo is there, Jacinta, Kojo PJ. I'll come back to you. But let me run through these so that I come to the panel, then I come back to you again. So, according to our research, we did some research from the various institutions in government, and they tell us the Ghana Tourism Marketplace and Ghana Tourism Investment Platform were launched, and they have been launched by the GTDC, the Ghana Tourism Development Company. So during December 2025 festive season, the GTM recorded 76 bookings, generated more than 25,600 Ghana cedis in revenue, and had 21 live bookable services listed. And then the Accra by Night tour accounted for approximately 93% of the platform revenue. So that happened. And so it mentions Accra by Nights. That was also initiated by the GTDC's Kobe.
90% of the 21,000.
Yes, on the platform. Yes.
It's a monthly.
Yes, it's a monthly event, if you like, yes. And then it talks about the Marine Drive project. So according to the information we had from the institutions, the government has taken steps to revive the Marine Drive tourism development project, including a stakeholder meeting in June 2025. And then recently, they also constituted a committee, I think a 17-member committee. They've been given 18 to 24 months to revive the Marine Drive project. You remember in their manifesto, they said they will revive it. So they are on their way to reviving the Marine Drive.
Yes, that's a
Marine Drive project covers approximately 241 acres along Accra's coastline, stretching from Christianborg Castle to Osu towards the Arts Center.
Did you say reviving? 2 years.
Yes.
Did you say reviving?
Perhaps revive the conversation.
Revival. Marine Drive, revival. It is in the manifesto.
Was it dead?
It was, I think the activities were on hold for some time. The projects. They also mentioned that
around the
Tanobuase Sacred Grove project has been completed and is ready for official opening to the public. Okay, and some more things they have done. Anomabu Garden of Return and Tetekwashi Cocoa Farm receive management attention. Let me get to the
management attention.
Yes, yes, Uncle Ken.
And what happened afterwards?
Attention. National Chocolate Week expanded to improve cocoa tourism. That's another thing done. And then the transport innovation through Fleet Pool Management Service. That's another thing they've done. Tourism and cultural diplomacy expanded. So according to the research we did, the ministry strengthened tourism and cultural cooperation with countries including China, Greece, Russia, Jamaica, New Zealand. Let me go on. I want to lay a foundation so you can build on that. The International Heritage and Tourism Partnership strengthened. So according to them, the ministry collaborated with the African World Heritage Fund and the International Center for Interpretation and Presentation of the World Heritage Site on a major workshop in Accra involving heritage professionals, policymakers and experts from 15 African countries. So let me move on. Let me come to night tours in Cape Coast and then Elmina Castles. So according to them, the Ghana Museums and Monuments Board piloted night tours at Cape Coast Castle and Elmina Castle with 2 facilities extending operating hours to 10 p.m. And this one, according to them, ties into the 24-hour economy. Yeah, so we move on to, let me do some creative art stuff, okay? And then you mentioned the High Life Music and Dance inscribed on UNESCO's representative list. And this initiative, I don't think the NDC can arrogate this to themselves as their sole achievement. I think both the NDC and the MPP did some great work on that one.
Under the MPP.
Yes, so I think we need to give them the credit for that, both regimes. Let's talk about Ghanaian language promotion strengthened. So the Bureau of Ghana Languages organized a Ghana Languages Dialogue to promote the use of Ghanaian languages because according to the manifesto, they were going to improve the identity. So this is part of the identity promotion. The ministry and the BGL launched the orthography of a Hunter language.
Is the Bureau an agency under?
Yeah. Yes, it is. It is. It is. Yeah, it is. And so now the Ahanta language has orthography. It is now written. Yes, and the Ghana Languages Festival was held as well. Languages Festival. And you didn't hear of it. Okay, let's talk about other things. NAFAC. Okay, so according to our source from the GTA, from CAA, from the Commission on Culture, the Black Star experience and activities implemented through the National Commission on Culture and its regional centers have expanded cultural programming across the country. I'm doing this, Robert, I hope you are, so that I'll come back to you and then you build on that. And then we move to, and let's talk about the Kwame Nkrumah Memorial Park upgrade. So the park underwent institutional and physical improvements, including the establishment of a governing board, a redesigned website with a virtual tour, improved signage, the one that brought the whole Obake controversy, Wi-Fi, 25 marble benches, lighting, rewiring, restoration of the musical fountain, landscaping, repainting, and...
Sorry, what are you reading?
Improvement.
Achievements. Okay.
Okay.
So,
please, the audience.
Yes.
These are achievements.
Right? Yes. Achievements. No. Robert asked. So I want people to know that we did some.
research. My advice. Okay. You see, every state agency does some work.
Good.
And I think it may even be unfair to the government to elevate departmental activities.
Okay.
Like a signage. To a major, and I don't think it's even fair. What you must say. So, just for the sake of the conversation,
yes, sir.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like putting a signage there, it's a standard departmental things.
Okay.
Because if you elevate it to a level of an achievement, then you may open it to a ridicule.
But
until, if you can, me, I'm only saying with the greatest of respect.
Okay, maybe let's not
like
call
a
them
website.
Achievements.
So because they are, in my view, they are hygiene issues.
Yeah.
And then they are major policy intervention issues.
Right.
Otherwise, it will look somewhere. No, I'm just saying that it's true. And nobody is saying the agencies are not working. They are working.
No, so you just don't want Kwame to carry on.
Oh, let me add
say that carry on, but be mindful of what you are listing.
Yes.
Like I said, when you say GTDC, launch new products, Accra by night and things.
Yeah.
I mean, those were innovations that I sat with him in a studio like this and he discussed. The numbers may look small, but it has potential.
Okay.
But when you digress into assign it, no, it's not fair to them.
But they listen.
Okay. No, that was the information we had from them, so I'm just presenting it to you. Let me continue with creative arts. Oh yes, we asked them to send in, and so I'm just presenting what they sent.
Yes.
Creative Arts Agency operationalized and revitalized. The Creative Arts Agency underwent operational revitalization in 2025 with a focus on stakeholder engagement, institutionalizing, rebuilding sector activation. Okay, I want to do a few of the creative arts so that
do plenty.
We don't sound tourism culture biased. Okay. Nationwide registration and licensing of creative practitioners being prepared. So the Creative Art Agency is undertaking nationwide stakeholder consultations
preparing to undertake.
Yes, ahead of the rollout of registration and licensing of creative practitioners under Act 1048. And then a 20 million allocation. Okay, they mentioned that as well. We talk about, so basically these are some of the things listed. The film fund is also mentioned here. And then National Theatre Strategic Plan developed. So there is a plan from 2026 to 2030 for the National Theatre to guide the institution's operations and contribution to the tourism, culture, and creative arts sector. That has been done. And then National Theatre receives lighting and sound equipment from a German theatre group.
Congratulations.
Okay. For a 40-foot container of lighting and sound equipment to the National Theatre. Yes, and all right. Okay, so let me come to the panel to take your reaction from the comments made by our friends on the other side, and then the things done. Let me not use achievements if you like. Let me start with Olele Salvador. Let me hear you.
Kwame, I think you forgot to add that we were also promised a dedicated TV channel.
Yeah, the DTT. Yes.
And unfortunately, that also has not been.
But you guys spoke against it. I listened to almost every radio discussion, and they say it wasn't.
No, but that's what they told us. I mean, anyways, but
I'm just chipping in.
I think, Kwame, even with telling us what are supposed to have been achievements.
Yeah.
One thing clearly stands out, and that is it's a lot of talk. I think it's a lot of for us in the creative arts and tourism space. It still feels like an election year to us because it's a lot of we are engaging stakeholders. We are about to roll this out. The conversations that are being had today and the conversations that were had in 2024 are no different. I mean, for me, they are no different. It's like it feels like after I'm now going to reinvest my confidence in a government to pretty much activate some of these desires, and I feel like it's a sad thing. I'm trying to be very charitable and not be too harsh because, like Uncle Ken said, we just in 20 months. So, but it's disgraceful. is unfortunate. I mean, you couldn't even finish. And when you go to the creative arts, you couldn't even list more than 3.
I can list more.
Kwame, there are going to be responsibilities by the offices or by the institutions, and not because they had any impact whatsoever. Because why are you telling me that you bought neon lights in your office? It's like when we had a challenge with the air conditioning at the National Theatre. Why should I even know about a challenge around air conditioners.
There is a new generator set to a generator.
Like why? Like you see, that's what Jesse was saying. Like, and it's sad that when we talk about other industries and other countries, and when they talk about what the creative arts is doing for their countries, and we come and talk about generators, air conditions, lights, and so on and so forth. It's pathetic.
Yes. You see, when I mentioned January time, because it was a complaint that was given by some of the theater practitioners, like Fifi Kuman, and they were complaining. So now we need to let people know, because they came on ready to talk about it.
What were they complaining
about? The generators. They need to bring their own genset when they were having. But now they have it, so. Jesse.
We can go on and on, and I'm sure, my senior colleagues will take him from there. But another thing that I also noticed was the implementation time between what has been desired to be done and when it actually takes off also leaves a lot to be desired. Because, for example, registration of creatives. This was announced by the director, I think, last month, if I'm not mistaken. Right? He announced it in June. We are in August. No updates, no plan. I don't know what's happening. Do you understand what I'm saying? And it's unfortunate to hear such things around the creative arts, because we are arguably communicators. All the stakeholders in the creative arts industry are communicators. So communication shouldn't even be a problem when it comes to telling us what is going on. I'm talking about being PR, for example. That should even tell you the sickness around the country's PR. And the country's PR only shoots up when we have a foreigner or a celebrity of certain statuses coming into the country. And it's like petrol fire. It sparks and that's it. It dies. I am still waiting on how the country took advantage of iShowSpeed's activation or tour to the country. I haven't seen any plan. I haven't seen any conversation whatsoever, or have not seen any form of implementation surrounding that. Because you would think that would then lead into the content creator, what do we call it, a manifesto or promise.
Yeah.
Because iShowSpeed is a content creator. And I have said that if iShowSpeed has started his journey in Ghana, it probably wouldn't have been the iShowSpeed we celebrated or invited into this country.
But I think there was a ripple effect from that. And that was Kriya Kujenjing. And then even after that, Hamamat was appointed.
That is what Jesse is talking about. After that, what happened?
Shea Butter ambassador, and that was
what is the numbers telling us about the export rate or the export percentage in shea butter?
Okay.
We don't know that. We just know that somebody has been appointed or a creative, and that's the thing we like to do. When we see someone do well, we give them a position, and it kills the whole process because we don't have a pipeline, we don't have a structure, we don't have a framework that is supposed to be running on auto mode.
Okay.
It's just pick, fix, and then we move on to the next one. It's frustrating because every election year, like Austin said, every election year, it is the creatives that are activated, not even the is it NCCE?
Which one?
Sorry, is it NCCE?
Commission on Culture?
Civic Education.
NCCE, yeah.
Yes, not even them are activated at the threshold that creatives are activated, either for communicating policies or even communicating campaign promises. But yet, we are almost ignored or neglected when it comes to the barest minimum. And that should be a shameful look in the mirror when government takes a look at it.
Thank you, Olele Salvador. Let's get to Francis Doku.
Okay, let me start with what Austin said about tourism and the fact that when conversation are had, mostly we focus on tourism instead of creative. For me, I don't see the difference really, because I think that tourism is expressed in many ways, and one of the ways is how creative arts supports or tourism. So otherwise, what's tourism? When people come into your country, what do they eat? What music do they consume? What film do they watch? What comedy shows do they attend? I think for me, those are the expressions. So creative arts, as you mentioned, it's like the building blocks on which tourism is built, because there will not be tourism without that. So if a conversation is hard, I don't believe that we need to
say that, in a conversation you spoke about, what is tourism really? Because I think that it's just expressive in the way that those are the ones that support what tourism becomes. But I also understand, because in some countries, they only have tourism minister, whose responsibility is to also look at the things that you call culture, creative arts, and all that. But I understand, in our market, we are very expressive. So where Hennessy would do a very nice commercial and not be, when Cargo is going to do it, we'll see how, cargo and all that. But so I just understand that in our market, we want to really say that the minister is responsible for tourism, culture, and creative arts before we know that that's happening. So yeah, I get it. But I think that when the conversation is being had, tourism is where the numbers are expressed. Because if we're going to report to UN tourism, for example, we will not say that this and that, because all is put together as tourism and expressed to them. So we shouldn't be too hard on saying that those conversations might be had in the way that it is. That's one. Secondly, I think I also agree with Kojo when he mentions that we don't necessarily have, and that's disagreeing with Uncle Ken's friend who sent him the message that it is unfair to be discussing or trying to measure the government only on the number of months that it is. I think at every point of the continuum, if you like, of the years that you are, we need to be looking back and seeing what you do and what you do. And as Kojo mentioned, you knew how government is run. You need to first set up your appoint people and then let them begin to work before you can say. But you know all that, but you still say that we'll do this and do that. But again, it comes back to what Jesse said about the three areas that you're looking at. First of all, what is the short term, what is the medium term, what's the long term? What are the things that should have been done up to now? Because we or anybody, any citizen who voted can say that, well, you said you do this. And it is the government or the spokespeople for the government also to say that, well, we have 4 years. We didn't tell you that we'll do it in the first year or all that. It is theirs to say, but we can also ask our questions and say that you mentioned that you do this. For instance, you said you build the second national theater in Kumasi. Have you acquired a land at this stage? If you haven't, what is preventing you? And all that. So I think it's very important that at every point, because governments even say that in 100 days we'll do this. 100 days is not 4 years. It's still within the time. So I think at every point of the way, I don't think it is fair to people who have voted to say that it is not fair to judge a government because it's only 19 or 18 months. I think we can at every point of the way. I also want to touch on something I've forgotten.
So Francis, should they have given timelines to some of the promises?
No, they are politicians. They won't give timelines because once they.
Because then that makes it difficult.
It's not difficult, Anglican. We can always ask them that you said that you met people at the AH Hotel and said, we'll do this, we'll do that. You didn't give timelines. It isn't the reason why we should ask you, why haven't you done this? Because you didn't tell us that you do that within this period of time. So I don't think it's unfair to ask those questions because they didn't give timelines. They have 4 years. They said, we'll do this, we'll do that. Now we're looking at the 4 years, and it's almost half of that already. So the question would be that those things that are hard things you said you do, is it possible for you to do it with the remaining time? I think that's where the question comes in. And as Jesse said, sometimes even some of the projects, they go beyond the years that you said you're 7. Some of them could go maybe 8 years, 16 years, 12 years and all that. But we need to see what you're doing, towards that. And then some of the things also, I think for me, one of the key things that I had hoped that would happen, and if, as Jesse said, we're doing resetting, as it were, is the Marine Drive, project. Some of the big ticket things like the Marine Drive project. I hear you when you say that a new committee has been formed. Technical committee, and given 18 to 24 months. Yeah. That's 2 years. So within that time, what are we going to see? Because we know this Marine Drive thing has been going on for some time. There was even sword that was cut. That was in 2017. 2017, sword cutting and was supposed to have been completed within 10-year period.
Absolutely, but we needed to see things that are. There was a time when they were going to move the people at the art center to Kaukudi.
Yeah,
that has not been done, right? Because if they did not move them, then they can't begin to. So for me, it's a bit worrying that it is now that we've set a technical committee again on something that we have done a lot of work. I mean, when you say a lot of work, doesn't mean just this government, but over the years, the previous Mahama government, the Nana Akufo-Addo government for 8 years, and then here. I think it is important, in my view, that government should continue. Yeah. You know, otherwise we just chop and change. It is one of the reasons why people say it's too short a time to be judging, you know, the government. Because in some markets, Kwame, you don't come to, a new government doesn't come before they appoint, say, a CEO of, say, the tourism authority. Because I know, for instance, in Botswana and other markets, the head of the company is given a contract. And the contract doesn't end because the government ended. You know, and so you see that things will continue even when a new government is. They won't come here once an election is had. You need to pack your things before a new government comes, because definitely you will go. But if we get to a point where we become a bit more mature and understand that people work because they have expertise, they have knowledge, and they can work, not because they wear a particular color. And so if a government comes, they don't necessarily just have to pack their things and go. Maybe they can work some time. If their contract ends or a new board comes and board says that we've assessed you, we think that we need someone else who can do it. That's different.
Francis, here, don't you think this stems from the fact that our constitution gives the president too many powers of appointments? The president appoints virtually across board of this country, and that's part of the delay.
I agree totally, and I have said,
and I think if we want to be serious, we need to take that responsibility away from the president. But none of the presidents will allow the responsibility to be taken away from them.
Yeah, I agree perfectly. I think I've even said it. I've said it a few times that I find it a bit, what's the word, street word to use, some way, you know, that a president would appoint a minister, the president would appoint the board sometimes. No, not even the deputy. The deputy, they are only there to...
You don't like them, eh?
Well, they are only there to be there. They don't do much. I mean, most deputies will tell you it's everything the minister. But in terms of the corporate governance, the president will appoint the minister, sometimes even the board, then appoints the CEO.
Exactly.
Even to a point sometimes of even appointing the spokesperson, the PRO. I honestly think it's a very bizarre, but it's quintessential Ghanaian, you know, and that sometimes is what stalls progress of, you know, things that happen around. So a GTA will say that, well, we are new. We don't even know. The report that a GTA presented last year, it was really the report of Akwesi Agyeman's, you know, administration.
Yes. It was for 2024.
It was for 2024, but it was presented by my first administration. But there are people who work there, who have been working there, and who are, you know, continuous.
Like the gentleman we had on the show recently, Mr. What's his name?
Ananisia
has been there for 30-something years, you know, and they're always there. But because the main person, or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 10, depending on how many people are appointed, it cancels everything that over 100 and something people have been doing. So I think that we need to mature to that stage. And Kwame, just a last point also. I think, again, I said this before, that the mindset of government determines who sits, in my view, in cabinet. As things are and have been over the past 20 months, the Minister of Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts doesn't sit in cabinet. And for me, and I'll use something that Percy would probably understand, that's like having an ESCO with your marketing director sitting outside. You know, that's, for me, tells your orientation as a company or as a destination.
All right. Thank you, Francis. Doku. Uncle Ken.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
One statistic today has dampened my spirits entirely about this industry. And that was a statistic, not Olele, Akwesi Agyepong, is it, was it Akwesi who?
Kofi Agyepong. Oh, yes. Kofi Agyepong.
Kofi Agyepong telling me today that this ministry is not worth 1% of
government's expenditure.
Government expenditure. Tells me why we are where we are. A whole ministry not worth that. So how are we going to fund most of the promises that were made? This is why we don't get the promises. We don't get anything out of the promises. In your submission, you mentioned NAFAC. What has happened to NAFAC?
NAFAC? It will be, revival of NAFAC.
And NAFAC, if it was going to happen, would have happened by now, July thereabouts, as well as Panafest. They are two glorious, that the Black Star experience could have heralded and put across, but none of that has happened. You see, you were reading achievements.
It changes.
I was reading material we got from our research.
No, I'm not saying it came from you. Yes. I'm saying it came from the agencies.
Okay.
Plenty, and everybody was like, what's going on? Jesse even had to beg you to protect the integrity of the agencies that were putting out such information. Because everybody here is just amazed at what was being read. And like Kojo said, if the government had, within this first year, decided to touch things that were tangible and easy to do, everybody would have been able to list those achievements and say, when they came, they tackled the amphitheaters.
I'm not cutting you, but information here says that NAFAC is slated to take place in November 2026 in the Volta region.
In the Volta region?
Yes, please.
Oh, okay. Thank you for the information. Yeah. The amphitheaters, someone mentioned, I think it was Austin, who was looking at huge venues for conventions and for convention centers for large scale, gatherings. I would not. That was you, huh? Okay, and he also mentioned it. We have a convention center at the trade fair site being constructed. 20,000 seater, and it was part of funding was by another government. Which government was it? Another country. So it was a 50-50 partnership thing between Ghana and it was progressing well. In the president's thing, you read something about he also talking about a new convention center to build outside Accra that would host, concerts, meetings, and stuff of that nature. Some of these things, if they were continued, would have been visible for people to praise and say, at least within the first year that the government came in, this is what they've been able to do.
Singapore.
It was in partnership with Singapore, yes. Yeah. And that is my worry. Francis was saying this too, that the government should be seen as a continuum.
Yeah.
And so things that were started before, look at the
amphitheaters?
I've mentioned the amphitheaters already.
Okay.
The Creative Arts School. Now there is this thing about, that school is under the Ministry of Education. We don't know, but it is the Creative Arts School.
Yeah.
That's what was put in our minds.
Yeah.
So even if it is under the Ministry of Education, I think it would have been proper for the leaders of the ministry to have gone ahead to ask about that and claim credit for even getting it started. It would have been nice. But here we are. An employee of the government ridicules the idea, and since then we haven't heard anything about it. These are some of the things that I feel that if they are done, then you can be telling us about the other plans that you have. But if the things we see physically as easy to do are not being done, and then you come to sit there and you read out this treatise to me, I will just sit here and just say, maybe, no, exactly. So, Kwame, I think we have a serious problem, and the engagements with the ministry heads should happen so that they listen to some of us and pick some of these ideas. You know, every time we try to halt projects started by somebody else to initiate ours, who loses? It's the country as a whole who will lose. Thank you.
Thank you, Uncle Ken. Uncle Ken, for your information, Manifesto 2026 took place in Ghana from July 23 to August 3. Location, Cape Coast, Accra.
When?
July 23 to August 3.
This year?
Yes, please.
How? And did you hear about it? Because you, of all people, if you had heard about it,
didn't hear about it, then
you will have posted something about those two.
Thank you very much, Uncle Ken. Showbiz Roundtable, and we're still here talking about the government's performance in our sector, tourism, culture, and creative arts. Let me tell you about High Five Choco Malt. Uncle Ken took a sip of that, not a sip, he took a cup of that, and that is why he's so energized and High Five Choco Malt. Intuition, I know I'm on High Five. Okay, so get your High Five Choco Malt now. And let me also remind you that MTN is celebrating 30 years of operating in Ghana, and you need to get into the draw to win amazing prizes. You can win more than 10 million Ghana cedis and also stand a chance of winning a brand new Toyota Land Cruiser Prado and other unforgettable prizes. Now, MTN says that those of you who have been borrowing, as for the borrowing, India, when it gets to the crunch, you will borrow. But please, when you borrow, pay so that they can get money to lend to others as well. Let me get to Jesse now. Jesse, you have the platform.
Thank you. So I'll touch on bits of pieces, and I'm not sure. Maybe I should just start with Francis Doku.
All right.
So the point he made about the cabinet ministers is correct. But here's a dreaded but. We know that constitutionally, the cabinet has a representation. The president, the vice president, and a minimum of 10, a maximum of 19. However, other ministers of state and other non-cabinet ministers can make an appearance to, or are required to make an appearance to present a memorandum for consideration. So I understand the point he's making in terms of the presence of the minister in cabinet, except to say that when the ministers who are not cabinet ministers have a policy paper or they have a product or for consideration, they ought to appear. I mean, I have seen state agencies, imagine like a GRA or anybody else, they don't have cabinet representation, but if the matter in issue requires that, you need to put a policy paper together that goes all the way up to the cabinet level. So I do understand the fact that a person may not be a cabinet minister, but it doesn't stop you from making representations for the consideration of cabinet. So that's the first one.
No, but just
Yes. Yes, sir.
I mean, over the last 8 years,
Yes, it has always been.
there were 4 tourism ministers who were appointed.
Yes.
All of them sat in cabinet.
I'm not disputing that.
Just the next.
You're wondering why?
Stops it.
Yes. No, I'm with you.
It means I'm just saying that it tells me about your priorities.
Your priorities. Okay, yes. No, I get it. I mean, it took me back to the cabinet, the list, and I was looking at it to see. I want to try and understand his focus in coming into government, and I don't think it's about whether or not the sector doesn't demand attention, because if the sector didn't demand attention, they would not have a head.
Yeah.
So the sector has a head. The sector exists. But except that, I'm very sure that if the Constitution permits it, because when I went through the 19 now, I'm not even sure who I may take out as an example. But again, I'm just adding this point. The Kwame.
Yeah.
I've always said that to understand where the NDC is,
yeah,
and to understand the mindset of His Excellency the President, there's no better interview that would give you a view and a perspective of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama than his interview with Kofi Adoma. I'm putting together a paper on it, on some of the things he said in that interview.
Okay.
And how I feel I'm seeing reflections in how he's governing. And that interview was post-2016, and he was reflecting and talking about some of the things that didn't go well for the government, amongst others. He spoke about the structure of the NDC and some of the things the NDC had to go through to reform itself. If you have the time, watch the interview and pay attention to everything he said. In my view, there's a lot of manifesting now that you can tell when you listen to him carefully. Watch that interview. In that interview, one of the things that he said was he doesn't think they underperformed per se in 2016. But he felt that the communications front of the government broke. And there are times in governments that you become so irritating that nobody even hears you anymore. Fast forward, he comes back to government. And we discussed this. We said, the people that he appointed this time round are people who are both technically good and communication-wise good.
Yeah.
Pick the list. Yeah. See, watch the list very carefully. And I think, in my view, he tried to cure the lack of information by picking, say, a Jinapo. Technically brilliant, communicates very well. Sam George, yeah, technically good, communicates well. Maybe too much, but he communicates well.
But he's with baggage.
No. I'm not doing assessments now. But I'm saying always go back to the foundation and track the people.
All right. Keep it.
Haruna Idrisu, technical, communicates well. Pick any of them. So I think, in my view, one of my biggest hope was that when you have a sector minister who's so experienced in the space, who's an actor in the space, she would come with carrying all of you along the journey. My only hope and wish is maybe post today, we would see that reflection. Because again, if I go back to John Mahama's interview, His Excellency John Mahama's interview, he was clear in his mind on the power of communication. Watch that interview very well.
Okay.
Number 2, you should watch the interview of Bozoma St. John.
Yeah.
She did an interview on the podcast, I think 0:45 or so.
Yeah.
See, listen to how she tried to posit the commercial value of year of return. Pick a government's bureaucratic, dogmatic policy prescription and converted it into a consumer need. This interview was last week. Or last 2 weeks. Last 2 weeks.
The interview. Yes. The very recent one.
It's a very recent one.
Yeah.
Sorry? 154, yes.
154?
It was 154, 0 NE.
With the 2 hosts?
Yeah, with the 2 hosts.
Yeah, 154.
Watch it very carefully. So I think, in my view, she took my attention to the fact that you may have a problem and a policy, but the average Ghanaian or the consumer you are hoping for may not understand. Until you move away from policies and treat the Ghanaian as a consumer, a good product may not sell. Pick the GTDC product, the night market. I think it's a brilliant thing. But I'm not feeling a strong sense of consumer attachment to it. Like when we followed Rwanda and visited Rwanda and things like even me, I was like, why would you do this? But it gets you to pay attention.
Yeah.
And when you pay attention, they say we have a good economy. You pay attention, they say we are safe. You pay attention, they say we have the cleanest city in Africa. Yeah. You get what I mean? So just by being on an Arsenal jersey, Arsenal, right?
Yeah.
You Google it, and you find out good. You find out more. So I think, in my view, governments need to move into a point of consumer innovation. Don't just think policy. Think of why does this make sense to the average Ghanaian? And so a lot of the policies you are going through now, in my view, if it was packaged properly, many of those in this room now would be able to follow properly and say, I am the consumer. You said you are doing A, B, C, D, but I haven't seen the products to buy. Because if you haven't seen the products to buy, it doesn't matter whether you've done it.
Okay.
If MTN has created a product, or MTN Home has created a new fixed product, and they announce that they have done it, and I don't have it to buy it, and there's demand for it, I cannot fulfill the demand. It's a first failure of a commercial process.
Absolutely.
3, I think I raised cultural fund, and I think I also mentioned sustainability.
Yeah.
And my good friend here said, yeah, he's sure about the fact that you don't have an excuse. So let's go to the act and find out what it says about sustainability.
Okay.
And I'm going to read it slowly, as usual. And this is the source of the fund.
Which fund?
Is it the film one or the creative?
The cultural fund. Yes. The creative fund also, yes. So 1, monies approved by Parliament. And that money approved by Parliament is monies that will be sent by the finance minister to Parliament as a whole, composite. Yes. And you get a share of it. Yes. How much are you getting now?
That's the 20 million.
Yeah, fair, good. That 20 million as a fraction of your budget itself is like 0.00000. Good. Next, grants and loans. To be secured by who? That's you. You must find it. Good.
The entity.
Next, which is the most important. 1% levy on revenue realized from the sale of products from the creative arts industry. Now stop there.
What products?
It's a chicken and egg. You want the money to grow the creative arts space, yet it will give you 1% of the creative arts space revenue. The same creative arts you're saying your revenue is small. So how would you grow? So if you're waiting for 1% of $1 million, what would you do with it? So I'm saying that I get what you're saying. The inflows it is there. But if you hold this constant for the next 52,000 billion years, I'll be richer than your fund. Because your industry will not grow at a scale for you to actually derive a 1% out of it. Today, you can't even quantify your own industry.
But even then, what products are we talking about?
Precisely. So I'm just saying, today, you can't even quantify your own industry. So on paper, you're right, it's there. But if they make Kwame CEO, and they make you co-CEO, and we give you all the attention and 50 years in the office, what would you do? Next, we say periodic contributions determined by the board and paid into the fund by practitioners. Before we started, my colleague here, Olele
Salvador,
said, is it possible to privatize? I'm sorry, I'm also choking you.
Yes, okay.
He said, is it possible to privatize the creative arts?
Yes, just like we have the GFA.
And I'm saying his intention is not to privatize it per se. He's looking for efficiency.
Yeah.
And I'm saying the private sector may not necessarily deliver efficiency because the private sector also has a lot of inefficiencies. But if the desire is to see efficiency, then maybe you need an agency or a partnership with Clark Limited and Don Limited and charge them to raise funds for you at a percentage or at a fee. That's an example. Because if you put the two of them together, they can create products that would work for you.
That's right.
The creative arts space should not be saddled, like, in my view, like any other ministry like health or education. Yeah. It should be fluid. It should be fast. It should have more innovation. You have the youngest beneficiaries of any sector. So why should you be so locked up in the policy box? Final point for me. And
except apart from education.
Sorry, except apart from what?
Education.
my last point.
Okay.
So let's say I'm willing to put 10,000 cedis on the table. Let's take 10,000 cedis from every speaker here. Well, behave. Let's raise.
Not now, though.
Oh, no, not now. I mean, let's raise.
2 years later.
Let's raise 100,000 Ghana cedis.
Right.
Okay. Let's put together 2 or 3 people to attempt to use all the tools available in this world to quantify the value of your industry. 3 years ago, we spoke about this matter, same on Joy. We said, why can't we simply at least have a very good scientific value of your industry? We don't have that. Yeah, maybe we might have some estimates. Francis is speaking about some nice South African numbers and things like that. But I'm just saying, if we put together 100,000 cities, can we find some young boys to begin to crack this? Can we go to the Statistical Services Department to firm it up? But Joy, you should take this upon yourself and work with the industry, whether musicians, whether comedians, or whatever be the case, and start a conversation. Let's not come here next year and repeat the same thing that we don't even know the size of the pie of your industry. That's the problem. I won't belabor the point. The rest of the things, I don't want to talk about it. Because I was going to enter the space of the full list that he had given to us. But I won't do that. And with that, I thank you very much.
Thank you, Jesse, Agyepong. And for those of you listening and sending your comments, thank you so much. You can do yours now. Send your comments now, 055-1111-997. We have some comments coming through. I would read a few and then I'll come to the audience here in the studio as well. No show in Ashanti region. A theater was promised. We're yet to see the allocated land for the project and drawings. We have told our Honorable Minister that we prefer the completion of the ongoing Creative Arts School in Kwadaso and the amphitheater in the Arts Cultural Center to starting any new projects. But no show as I send this message. James Abuaje is the former president of FIPAD. Policies don't have timelines, thereby making it difficult to track its implementation. Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts and their leader, Honorable Ablan Jifar Gomashi, should focus more on grounds work than seminars, speeches and conferences. The Creative Arts Broadcast Bill needs to be fast-tracked. Which one is that? And pushed by the ministry to be signed by the president to be made into law, giving us the power so that television laws work to prosecute those who break laws by showing creatives content for free. I mean, the person meant the broadcasting. Yes, not creative as broadcasting. And then finally, digital structures and systems need to be built nationwide by the government to track and collect royalties for creators. The ministry should push for budget for that. This one is coming from Isaac Kofi Arthur Tema. He is a creative arts advocate. Another comment here says, good evening to you all, my favorite panel, Jesse. I commend Joy FM for consistently creating platforms for serious conversations about the creative sector. For me, the real question is whether the people at the grassroots are feeling the impact of government policies. What has changed for the young creative trying to survive? Ajwa from Koko Mlimli. Let me read a few here. Good evening to all of you. Kudos to the panel. They are great. We have heard several promises about making the creative economy a major contributor to the Ghana's development. After 20 months, I think government should be able to show us measurable results. We need figures, projects, and outcomes, not just announcements. Nanaya from La Paz. Big up to Joy FM for the Showbiz Roundtable. I believe the creative sector deserves this kind of accountability. Artists and creatives shouldn't only be remembered during election campaigns. There must be deliberate policies to support them throughout the year. Richard from Dansuman. I am happy the conversation is happening because the creative industry employs many young people. If government gets this sector right, it can reduce unemployment and create opportunities. 20 months gives us enough time to ask difficult questions. Has government created new opportunities? Has funding improved? Has tourism increased? Have creatives seen better working conditions? These are the questions that should guide the assessment. Dugbeda sent in that one. There are more comments here. I'll read some after taking a few comments from the audience. Lexi has a microphone. Let me talk to Lexi. Hello, Lexi.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Kojo Preko stood, so maybe I have to stand on the chair. Good evening, and hello to your panel. I want to touch on my industry. That's the stand-up comedy industry. I can't speak for any other industry.
Yeah.
My industry, and every time you guys call us, I don't want to even start with the government. I want to start with a problem I've realized since I came here.
Okay.
I realized that you invited stand-up comedians, we showed up, and all through the conversation, it is just recently, I mean, not too long ago, that he mentioned stand-up comedians. And you guys are just moving. Even when you go to the question time, you ask everybody, go to our turn. You are like, I'm going for a commercial break. When I come back, and the industry is fighting over a small fraction of what the government allocate to us. And even in that small fraction, stand-up comedy, we are not even recognized. And I'm not saying this because I'm begging to be recognized. This is an industry that just last year we had about 50 top-tier events that recorded thousands of people showing up. Yeah. And all these places, UPSA, I can hit my chest and say, most of your top musicians that you people throw so much weight.
Most of our top
musicians, they cannot even fill the auditorium, but we've been able to do that so many times. And we are paying taxes on every event we do, 21% of that. So even if you say like 2,000 people show up and we are recording about 200,000 Ghana cedis. Do the math. And that show happens every month. That's what we do. So I'm saying that when it comes to conversations like that, let's not trivialize stand-up comedy like, oh, it's just a small fraction. In fact, currently, I can boldly hit my chest and say, we contribute a lot to the tax basket than even movies. But we've been sitting and we've been deliberating about movie, and we don't even talk about stand-up comedy. And sitting here as an act in the stand-up comedy, it hurts. Now, coming back to what we are discussing. The last MPP regime, the government, I'm not here to do partisan this thing. Whoever is listening should look at it through the political lenses. I remember I drew the attention of one of the execs that every time they talk about this entertainment industry, they try to trivialize stand-up. The minute I mentioned it to him, he drew the attention of the GTA boss, then Mr. Agyepong. And every time there is a comedy show, they will call you and ask you, what can the GTA do to support your show? Whether in kind or anyhow, they will try and come through for you. It is true the last regime that we had, Obi and I had a chance to travel to the US to be part of the Ghana week in DC, meaning now they were looking at our direction, but we even needed more. But this current government, like, we don't even exist in their books. Last year, I invited 2 South African comedians to come to Ghana, join me do my show. And I went to see the ambassador of South Africa, the acting one. And he was like, how can I help you? And this is coming from somebody, he shouldn't even do it for me. And he was ready to assist me with everything he needs to do to make the show a success. I got a call from somebody from Black Star Experience. And he was like, hey, we are trying to partner with the South African government on merging the tourism, and we've seen you are bringing 2 South Africans from, so you know what, can you share some of the footage so we add it to our proposal? And I said, cool, but I want to understand, how would that affect my industry and myself, because I am initiating it myself. That was the last call. After the call dropped, and I even called somebody to reach out to Mr. Rexoma. It was a 3-way call. He said we will hear from him, and that was it. The previous government, that call would have changed something for me. Until date, I've not heard from them. Nothing, 0 effort. And we are still here, marking time. So when this man said this government, he's giving them 0.
Kojo Preko. I
was like, yeah, I support him 100%. Because and for some reason, this government has the highest number of creatives in position, and they understand the frustration of the creative. But it will shock you that some of them, even before they go to power, you can call them, they will pick your call and have an industry come. Now, when you call them, they don't pick. You get to their PA, they don't pick. And it's quite frustrating. And I know we will come back next year, just as every year we do the same roundtable, the same. Funny enough, these honorable men here, they can only talk, but they are not in position to solve our problem. I wish there was somebody from government to be here so we can throw some of these questions too. And if they have answers for us, but boss, they've been watching since. But yeah, that is me, my issue. If any of my people here has
put your hands together for Lexi the comic. And he's a comedian. He came back from the US a few days ago. Yes. He took comedy to the world. Yeah. Your accent is gone, eh? And we have President of Ghana Comedy Network, Percy Obrimpong. He's also here.
Okay, so good evening, everyone. And once again, I want to salute all of us here. Let me even take this off. You want me to stand there?
Yes, you are stand-up comedy, so.
And the sacrifice that we are making to try and get creative art to the level at where it is, or it has to be. I want to say this. There's a country called El Salvador. And I had to sit down because I thought I'm not Lexi, so there's a country called El Salvador. It used to be called is it City of Murder or Country of Murder or even City of Death. Then a president became very intentional to change the destiny of that country. What I've realized is that all government that come around who comes and leave, they are not intentional. Look, we have seen all the ideas here. If the leaders will not be intentional, even if we go and pray, kabal, dodo, brosi, break loose, nothing will change. We are praying and hoping and want them to know that they need to be intentional. Because we have solid ideas. At first stage, I do an event with a department in Legon, agri department, and I see and I hear ideas, projects, and stuff. And one day I told them, if you guys do not get yourself in government, all these things will not bring nothing. Because these are solid ideas, but yet Ghana still do not have enough food. The same way, all the ideas are there. But yet, government is not intentional. And it's so sad that, and I'm wearing black and I have to wear black. Even though I'm coming from my late sister's funeral, Beverly Afaglo, may her soul rest in peace. She should be one of us. And we went to support the husband also, who is also my senior in Prosec. And we are destitute. Is that a word to use? Because, look, there was some time that something happened in Zimbabwe. One of ours, as in Ghanaian, wanted to do something there in Zimbabwe. And they were going to the mineral, whatever. And I was told that the concession belongs to the security system. Now I'm asking myself, if it's even finance, look at those who are doing Galamsey. When they start, when the shortest possible, they are driving F-150. They are driving that, they are building that. If government is intentional, and I was telling this to someone, government can have a concession for health, have a concession for education, have a concession for creative industry, and it will build us to the next level. Yet what do? An industry that is handling like over thousands of people. Because I said one comedian will stand on stage and he has employed cameramen, lightmen, press, ushers, sound, and all of that. And yet, a government tourism, put back plane tickets. And government who is making noise that, we want to create employment. We want to create employment. If you cannot even create employment, those who are sacrificing to create employment, you are not putting the things there for them to do what? Able to have. As the senior man said, the product is not even there. See, you are not even helping us to create, yet you are interested in taking taxes, which is affecting those who are even trying to create. Yeah, you have free zones and all those people who have free stuff. They have free stuff. And if you go and check, how many people are they employing? How many people are they employing? To Today I was baffling and thing that was coming in my mind. I'm angry because you see, it is very, very bad.
Are you angry or hungry? I'm
angry. As for food, if you look at me, I don't eat much. You understand? We employ this, and I tell myself, is it not basic common sense? Like basic common sense that you don't need to even struggle. We are in it already. You are not helping us. We are helping ourselves. Oh, just come in and just put structures in place. Because I tell them that look, we don't even need any fund. If you put the right system in place, we create the money. So when they come and put money, we are giving this, and it becomes like a topic. Everybody see it, we don't see it. But when you put a system there, we will run through the system. And I keep saying that we comedians, we have moved ourselves from one level to the next level. We have battled our people who thought we're not good comedians in Ghana, and we have moved to the next level that the world is even accepting us. What makes it difficult that we'll move back to the time of Kwame Nkrumah and government is doing something somewhere and say, well, let's pick two comedians. And I was saying that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and say, tell all the missions or the embassies or whatever, and say, when they are doing anything, if even two at a time, you will build confidence in your youth. You put confidence in your youth. We go and perform because a comedian can just move alone or even pick him and his manager. Right. So we are not even carrying a lot of entourage. And we don't need much to stand on stage and fire. Okay. Yet we can't do that to help the creative industry. And now movie has gone down. We are seeing our fellow other countries. I don't like mentioning that, but foreign countries doing serious things, and we are here joking. Yet, I get excited when the president makes a lot of jokes from our comedians and funny things that happens on. It means that even the president, he should be our patron. As Ghana comedians, they should, because they did a book on whatever. And I love it. And he mentioned DKB, he mentioned the other guy, SZK and all of that. And he uses some of our things. So do that. How come they can't be intentional and say, look, let's do this for comedians, let's do this for musicians, let's do this for that. Because even the guy in the northern region, not the musician, the arts guy. Yes, like one person. When it comes to art, one person does a lot of things. Look at him. When this, take a train, movie there fix, take aeroplanes, movie there fix, and now it has become a place that people will travel and come and see. And yet, government and leadership said they are not seeing it, and the people that they have selected them, who are part of us, maybe they are just there for fun. Okay. Maybe just like a cliche. May the Lord be with us.
Amen. All right, I think we would take. Kojo, you have the microphone again. Don't we have any submission from the comedians? Jacinta is there. Kojo, PJ, Robert, you did not make your submission. You said you needed some explanation before. Okay, so let's take Kojo, PJ quickly, and then we come to Rob before Kojo Pre Kodankwa. Hopefully.
Mine is quite simple. If as a guy, if you are dating a woman and you really want to show her how much you care, we all believe it is through your actions, right? Yeah. So we can tell through the actions of how much someone cares for you. So I'm going to put this challenge to the government, because something has started. A few of us creatives met concerning the tax issue that we've been complaining about. Yeah. And we are presenting a document to them so that they look through it. What we are pushing for is a waiver for them to give us a period for creatives to build ourselves to the level where they can now tax us. Because right now, if you are taxing any creative, what are you taking? And I speak for my fellow comedians here. We do shows and then you finish and GRA is banging on your door trying to take the debt that you owe. They are taking from the debt that you owe. So we'll be banging on their door very soon with that document. And if they really care about us, they should show through their actions and then accept this document and do something for us. So that next round table, when we come here, we will shower the praises of how much care they've shown to us.
Please, could you please let Robert do his submission, then I come to you. Yes, Robert. Right. So now that you heard everything, including... Sure.
Thank you. Let me quickly chip in on the conversation that he's raised with respect to the VAT, the tax components. Yes, so it so happened that there was going to be a tax review, and somehow, some way, they reached out, quote unquote, to the people within the space. And unfortunately, the feedback was that we didn't attend. And so when we did not attend, they went ahead, and that is the result of the tax reform, that the information that came out was supposed to have been part of it. And so we had another session recently from events organizers' perspective, and they made us aware that that was what happened. And then we explained that, I'm sorry, but who did you call, and how come those who have been paying tax to you over the period, that information didn't come to their doorstep? Before we realized that somehow, some way, there was a communication break, and so we missed out on that. And so the conversation now is, we as a people need to be able to rise up and be able to make our case. But really, this conversation about tax is about indirect tax, and the fact that for as long as somebody's purchasing tickets, there's a component that you are supposed to collect on behalf of the government and give out. So it's a conversation that we need to be able to have around the entire tax system, and see whether or not people of what we are doing in terms of the creative, and whether or not we need to have like a flat rate and all of that, taking key lessons from what is happening in other sectors, even in Ghana and elsewhere in other parts of Africa, so to say. So that's where the conversation is. So I'm happy we are talking about it, but I think it runs a bit deeper because we had a longer conversation about it. The second one has to do with, I've listened to everything, and I think that the PR machinery, as a matter of fact, it has to be one of the priorities that government focuses on. And this, I'm not referring to when you do something, then you inform. Even let's take it a notch higher. Let's have a tracker. A tracker that basically says these are the things that's under the various elements in terms of tourism, arts, culture, whatsoever. These are the things that have been promised. And then give us a status info on each one of them. This one started, yes, no. What is happening? Okay, so being achieved or has been achieved, or this is the state, that kind of stuff. So that it makes it easier for the media to be able to pick information and have these celebrations going on meaningfully. The reason is because I think that with respect to the various sectors that we have, the people with the microphone, that is us. We have the microphone, and if one person tweets, that's enough. It should become a conversation throughout the week. And so we have the microphone, we have the attention of the people, and so it is important for these info to be available in such a way that we don't struggle to get it. We don't even need to knock on doors. If it's available at one place that we can just track, it makes it easier for us to be able to get information about what is happening within our space. And I think that the government will need to do that, because we are here right now, and then that kind of information would really be helpful.
Let's be clear, don't put signage on the tracker.
No Obake. Otherwise, you have to give the rest. All right, so I also looked at the 2026 budget, and one of the things that I found, which was not necessarily captured under the creative arts sector, has to do with the satellite accounts. But it wasn't just for tourism. It was also to understand the contribution of the creative economy as a whole to GDP. And for me, it's one of the biggest things that the budget mentioned, because of the level of acknowledgement that is there, and the fact that they wanted to work with Ghana Statistical Service, and all of that. So that particular provision that has been made and announced in there is huge. Why? Because it addresses the fundamental problem of our contribution, data, which also comes with the knowledge of how many people are employed, and then therefore how much government should give to us, because we saw the figure in terms of how much they are spending, and it's low. It's nothing to write home about, but and so to correct that, this has been put in place, and I'm just thinking, are the agencies running with it? Because if budget allocation, if it's mentioned in the budget, then it means that at this point we should be able to get some meaningful information on what is happening in the space with respect to this. But the question is, but the challenge now is, I don't really know if anything. So I was hoping that maybe if we had a rep here, I could probably get into that particular space by asking questions about it. But unfortunately, we don't have that. Then, again, creative arts economy, consistently evolving. We are here discussing promises from 2 years ago. And there are new things happening in our space that we don't need. We need strategy to be able to take advantage of the trends and what is happening and what's about to happen. And yet the things that were promised in the past, which are based on insights from the past, we are discussing whether they've been executed or not. And I'm just wondering how prepared we are to be able to give a competitive advantage to the people within our space. So, because I don't think that should be enough, we need to be able to focus on more things that are actually happening within our space. And one of those things, IP. There was a time I mentioned that I thought it was necessary for us to have the administrative component of IP or the Copyright Office seated under the Ministry of Creative Arts Tourism, because for the most part, when we are having conversations, because it's under the AG's office, we don't really have the people with us. Because the AG's office may be focused on the integrity of the law and ensuring that there is compliance. But the people that it impacts are the people who are within the people of the arts, like arts, culture, and tourism. And so when we seated here having these conversations, we are discussing basically what impacts our sector. And that is one of the key areas. And we are thinking about economic value or monetization, etc. But we don't have, like your report that you were given, they didn't really have anything of such. So I'm thinking that for as long as that particular move is not made, we have to be deliberate about including them in our engagements.
Who are you talking about?
The Copyright Office. The Copyright Office.
Under the AG.
Yes.
Under the AG.
Yes. Yeah,
but the AG's office do have representatives on creative boards, like the NFA and the Creative Arts Agency. They have reps from the AG's office on their boards.
Yes, I get that. But you see, this activity about IP or copyright, the office sits with them. So what I'm trying to say is, if the office were not with them, they would still have had representation on the board that you're talking about.
All right.
But what I'm saying is that we don't have, like, what have they done this year? What has been the plan? What were the challenges? They are responsible for the economic value of everything IP in our sector. And yes, we don't have constant information about what they are doing or where they are taking us to. In terms of plan, what are the new conversations about IP with respect to AI? All of these things sits with them. And we need to be able to understand that particular space, because everything monetization on intangibles with respect to the creative sector, they are handling it. And so this conversation, they should be part of it for as long as we're discussing everything economy, But unfortunately, because of that division, we are not getting that. So I think that for us, we have to be deliberate and intentional about including them in the conversation, so we can get them making their constant updates, or we can have the deliberation about how we can monetize forward.
All right,
to be able to advance our industry. I had about 9 things.
Thank you. We have 10 minutes to go, so thank you so much. Koyo, because you've spoken already, 1 minute, just 1 minute.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Yes, 1 minute.
Sure.
One will go for Jesse for us to, deepen this discussion. But Akakan, so it tells you that definitely the list that Kwame was giving tells you that they don't need 20 months or probably that excuse that they were giving, because they've done too much of that. Again, this platform is big, and I know the years are listening. We don't need the document to even get to the ministry in the first place. You have it in your manifesto. You told them, you promised them, you promised the creatives that you're going to give them that incentive. What are we waiting for? These are some of the low-hanging fruits that I'm talking about. Why do we have to wait for them to crack their brains when they're supposed to do shows, events for us to go in and for them to also get something to do? They are now writing documents. And I pray, I know Mr. John Dramani Mahama is an action man. This one shouldn't even get there. It should just, a phone call to the minister to say that, listen, get GRA, get everybody on board, let them do it straightforward, and we are done. We don't need any documents in there.
Thank you.
Sorry. You're talking about the Marine Drive. Uncle Ken, it has gone back and forth. First, MPP came in. They told us they're going to do it. Second, Elizabeth Dems came. We saw MPP coming back with Ajayi giving us some huge monies and doing some architecture and all those things. What has happened? We saw Michael Kruku-Manteng and the Nagbeko chairman. Chief Director, former Chief Director, going in front of Parliament to tell us that the account, nothing there inside. They've chopped the money. There's nothing there. The Marine Drive. We are back again with the second NDC, and they're telling us what they're going to do. What?
All right.
A quick one, Jesse. You did mention about the fund. Okay, so I want us to go back again to the fund matters. So they have shown us where we have to get the fund. One of them has to be getting the 1% or probably 1% from the enterprises. Now, GTA is doing very well with that. For us to buy food and all that, we see the 1% there.
To buy food.
Yes, when you buy from restaurants,
the
tourism fund. It is the 1% is there.
Yeah.
Okay, the 1% is there for them to
go inside.
Yes.
All right, could you quickly?
Okay, so 1% is done. NFA is supposed to get 1% from every activity that is done. When it comes to film, they are supposed to take. The enterprises are there.
Okay.
I know that if they put action into this,
all right,
they work.
All right. Yeah. Thank you, Kojo Preko Dankwa. Now to my panel. Let me take 1.5 minutes each. So this is what we're going to do. You're going to do your final submission within that period, and then you're going to rate government performance so far on a scale of 0 to 10. So 1.5 minutes. Olele, Salvador.
I just want to take the opportunity and apologize to Lexi that the theme of the conversation was government's performance in accordance to tourism and creative arts.
Okay.
Comedy is under creative arts. So everything that we've spoken about. Yes. So
let's move on.
Everything we've spoken about affects that, and I'm happy that my senior colleague Kojo Preko talked about the tax and relief. In the manifesto, it is said that a 10 registered tax creative, right, would or should experience tax relief, right? So we don't necessarily have to convene and send a petition, as it were, with them. I also noticed that politicians don't lack funds. They also lack time, because you take your first year to set up your administration, your second year to implement, your third year to assess yourself, and then next year to prepare for elections. You are not going to, and I think maybe that is why they want to introduce a 5-year. I don't know about that, but that's just by the way. The challenge of management with our tourist centers and infrastructure, we're already seeing the decline in quality at the Boteman complex. Something that was just put together, a few years ago.
Yeah.
It's a chronic problem. It's a chronic problem. So I don't know how that's going to be fixed. Lastly, you realize that everything that has been said here comes back to tracking and accountability. That is why I had a challenge when the media budget review did not tell us what money has been distributed, where it is gone, what it's being used for, and what we even expect. As I sit here, I'm not looking forward to the end of your budget review because it looks like I am not going to be captured in there. I have to call either the director of the various agencies to find out, do you have your money? And truly, they may not want to put government in the bad light, so they will not even give you the accurate or the true representation of the figures. So that will be my, hopefully.
Your rating on a scale of 0 to 10. Let's hear it quickly.
Zero. Zero. Let's not talk too much. Zero.
Francis, let's go.
0.
I think for me, there's some things that the government has done that need to be mentioned and commended, especially even bigger than just the tourism sector, which is the visa regime, the improving of the visa system for people who want to come to Ghana. I think launching on 25th May the e-visa platform is a big plus. It would help tourism. Even more so, making it possible for Africans to not pay when they are coming to Ghana.
You've experienced it, haven't you?
Yeah, I think that's a good one, tourism-wise.
Okay.
So the government needs, in my view, to be commended on that. I think also that we've said a lot about how the data integrity, of what is presented to us need to be improved, and so I would push that we operationalize the TSA, the Tourism Satellite Account. I also think that, as we have said, and Robert further pushed it, that there must be a dashboard or a tracker that shows the things that we're taking, especially with the Black Star, experience. What are the things that are happening?
All right.
Each month, what is happening, and then we need to take that. I think also it's important that we look at how to improve our pitching for conventions and business meetings into the country. And I think we can do that with setting up a desk or an office that is responsible for conventions, what we call the National Convention Bureau.
Please, your rating.
Last but not the least, I think we need to use the tourism levy a bit more. There are many places where it is very difficult to access as tourism destinations or tourism places. I think that the levy, part of it must be used to improve some of those places. We can't always rely on transport and everything to do it before. And last, we need to revive the PPP forum that Paul mentioned. It's very important that it's revived. And finally, my rating is 5/10.
Wow. 5/10. Okay, Uncle Ken.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, quickly. The president of the
Ghana Comedy Network.
Comedians
Network.
He used the word intentional.
All right.
I think that is what needs to be done with this industry.
Okay.
If we need to go forward. The president traveled to Jamaica, and he only went with the foreign minister. I was expecting to see our tourism minister alongside the president with a small delegation.
Only the foreign minister?
Yeah. Well,
so he's in charge of the.
He's in charge of the Asamoah
voice.
So I was expecting to see, because he went and he visited Bob Marley's studio.
Yeah.
And there was no musician or any tourism person with him. So we have to be intentional about.
And again, your rating, please.
Oh, my rating 3/10.
3/10. Okay, thank you, Jesse.
Everything I have said holds constant.
Okay.
I've just chanced the comedians raised a point about taxes and all.
Yeah.
So I've chanced on an article on Ethel Kofi's website, and I didn't know about this, but I think it's very important. So Tunisia has a Startup Act. And that Startup Act gives you a label. And that label provides you some automatic benefits from get-go. So once your business is registered and you have the startup stamp, you get the benefits. The exemptions apply automatically. And there's a definition in there. Now, Ethel's article, which I refer you to read, states that Ghana's startup bill nears approval. And the bill is drawing lessons from countries that have a Startup Act. So just to read a portion of the article and then I'm done. Tunisia was the first African country to pass the Startup Act, setting the precedence for others. The Act introduces several benefits, including a startup label, provides official recognition as a startup. So when AMA enters your office and the label is there are some things they won't charge you. When GRA enters, they will not charge you. I encourage all of you, reach out to her, maybe on social media, find out more and see how you can contribute into it. That's the only advice I can give you.
All right.
I thank you very much.
Jesse, your rating?
I don't know yet.
I thought as much. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, Uncle Ken. Thank you, Uncle Francis. Thank you, Olele, Salvador. Before we go, finally, let me read to you the result from the rating. So, talking about 20 months into the Mahama government tenure, how would you rate the impact on tourism, culture, and creative arts? 16% of the people, the respondents, said excellent. 33 said good. 31 said average, and 20% said poor. Thank you so much for listening to Showbiz Roundtable 9th edition. My name is Kwame Dadzie. Let me say a big thank you to our producer, Philip Nye, supported by Anita Tay, Ida Lemaire, Joan Nyame, Deborah, and the entire crew. Thanks so much. And a big thank you to our sponsors, MTN and High Five, Choco Malt. Some other time, next week, we'll be right here on Joy 99.7 FM. Thank you.
because submitting one in China